After a man went to the hospital to have 2 eggs removed, he realized they had cut the wrong ones. The cancer cells had already spread throughout his body, but when he found out, instead of getting angry, he burst into laughter while holding the peace charm his wife had left him. Because the man felt, only by dying without descendants could he appease his wife's departed soul. But when he opened his eyes again, you saw the she character pasted on the window of your old house, covered in dust. Then you quickly searched the house inside and out, and saw Lin Qingshui naked, curled up on the com. At this moment her large eyes were filled with a deathly stillness. Her originally fair and flawless body was also covered in crisscrossing bruises. And seeing again the woman who had haunted your dreams for most of your life, you immediately became excited, and immediately stepped forward and embraced her. There were too many regrets and longing to express, but at this moment they were all stuck in your throat. Then you began to cry in distress. In your previous life you had orchestrated Lin Qingshui to fall into the reservoir, causing everyone in the village to see her in a disheveled state. As you rescued her, for the sake of her reputation, she was forced to marry you. But since entering your home, Lin Qingshui had not enjoyed a single good day. Under your endless domestic violence, she jumped into the reservoir with her child to commit suicide. It wasn't until your elder brother fished the mother and daughter out of the river that you suddenly came to your senses. After that, although you leveraged the trends of the times to earn wealth that you couldn't spend in 10 lifetimes, the woman who had taught you to grow with her life was no longer there. Just as you were immersed in the joy of rebirth, a piercing cry suddenly came. "Don't touch me." Looking at Lin Qingshui trembling all over at this moment, you remembered that at this time Lin Qingshui had borrowed money from her parents to buy rice cereal for the child. But you had snatched it away to buy alcohol, and after getting drunk you had violently tormented her in bed. You raised your hand and slapped yourself hard more than a dozen times. Soon blood flowed from the corner of your mouth. Lin Qingshui quietly watched your actions, and couldn't help but sneer. She couldn't remember how many times this had happened. After all, every time you sobered up you would kneel and beg for forgiveness. But in less than 2 days, your fists and feet would fall on Lin Qingshui again. She could endure your torment in bed with humiliation, but she couldn't bear to see her baby starving with nothing to eat. The baby's weak cries caused a flicker of life in Lin Qingshui's beautiful phoenix eyes. She hastily put on her clothes and picked up her daughter. However, due to Lin Qingshui's long-term malnutrition, the little one, unable to produce milk, started crying loudly again, and your daughter's cries also woke you up. You immediately got out of bed and picked up your clothes from the floor. "Wife, wait for me. I'll go get some food for our girl right now." You strode towards the small shop at the end of the village. Old Huang, the shopkeeper, saw you and asked with a gap-toothed grin, "What kind of alcohol this time?" "Uncle Huang, can I buy a bag of rice cereal on credit? I'll give you the money tomorrow." Old Huang heard you wanted to buy on credit again, and looked at the swollen slap marks on your face. He didn't say anything, and took a bag of rice cereal from the shelf for you. You thanked him gratefully and hurried home. Got you a bag of rice cereal from the shelf. After thanking him gratefully, he hurried home. Arriving inside the house, seeing that his wife was still as she was when she left the house, you couldn't help but feel a pang of pain in your heart again. "Wife, the rice paste has been bought." Hearing your words, Lin Qingshui immediately became vigilant. Her pale little face was full of panic. "I warn you, don't sell my daughter, otherwise, I curse your Zhao family to have no descendants." Seeing this scene, you froze in place. You vaguely remember that something like this happened. Originally you wanted to sell your daughter to a couple in town to get money to buy wine. What kind of scumbag things did you do? No wonder you died of testicular cancer in your previous life. You really deserve it. So you put the rice paste in your hand on the worn out small bed. "I swear I will never sell our girl. Tomorrow I will go to town to find work." After saying that, you turned and walked out. You slapped yourself hard a few more times. If you remember correctly, Lin Qingshui jumped into the reservoir with her daughter this month. You trembled all over, seeing that it was getting late. The family was already out of food. 20 minutes later you arrived at the foot of the back mountain. Randomly pulled out the elastic band on your pants. Made a slingshot. You shot a pebble. A dove flapped its wings and flew up. After you became successful in your previous life, you fell in love with shooting. You also played with a slingshot for a while, squatting in the grass for a good half day. Finally you caught a pheasant with a net bag, and shot a few doves with a slingshot. Doves are very small. 4 of them combined are only about 1 or 2 pounds. However, that pheasant was as fat as 5 pounds. You tied these things with rattan and hung them on a branch. When you were about to carry them home, you suddenly felt a lightness behind you. You were so scared that you broke out in a cold sweat. Did you encounter a ghost? Suddenly you saw the peace charm hanging on your chest flash with light. This was something your wife always wore close to her in her previous life. It was neither jade nor plastic. She only took it off when she jumped into the river to commit suicide, and threw it by the reservoir. When you looked closely, the light of the amulet disappeared again. You couldn't help but reach out and touch it. The next second, you entered a space. In terms of area alone, it wasn't even as big as your hospital room. After experimenting a few times, you understood. You can enter by holding the amulet. You can go out by thinking about it in your mind. With this golden finger, you can make a comeback in this life. On the way home, many families were using electricity. Your own family was still using kerosene lamps. The years of natural disasters and hardship were over. You can still be hungry and have no meal. You carried the things directly into the kitchen. After it got completely dark, you brought a large bowl of dove soup into the main hall. "I made dove soup to help you lactate." Shouting 3 times, Lin Qingshui slowly walked out from the inner room. Seeing the large bowl of dove soup on the table, she didn't rush to get close. just standing still. Her eyes were full of hatred. At this moment you look at your wife's patched clothing. A wave of sadness washes over you again. In this era of material scarcity, Lin Qingshui's beauty stood out exceptionally. But you were a scoundrel. Got her and didn't cherish her. Seeing her full of vigilance now, although you longed to sit at the same table and eat with her, you also knew that with you here, she definitely wouldn't pick up her chopsticks. Ill eat in the kitchen. You turned and walked out. Lin Qingshui stood frozen in place, looking at the large bowl filled with turtle dove soup. A sense of unreality welled up in her heart. Is this a dream? Or is this a last meal? In the past, if there was any food at home, you would eat your fill first, and she could only drink the pot washing water. So even though she was hungry now, Lin Qingshui dared not take a bite easily, until she walked out the door. Seeing you squatting under the window drinking soup, a large pheasant was hanging at the kitchen door. Guessing you must have gone up the mountain to hunt wild game. Lin Qingshui then turned back to the main hall, and started eating from the bowl. After finishing the meal, you under your wife's vigilant gaze, took on the task of washing the bowls and chopsticks. You were a lazy person before. This might be the first time you've done housework properly in this home. After finishing these chores, thinking about the scoundrel things you did during the day, you went to boil another pot of hot water and brought it into the room. Ching ching, use this water to wipe yourself. After saying that, you put down the basin, and quickly left, sitting by the door for a long time. Only then did the faint sound of splashing water come from inside. You looked up at the starry sky, planning to find a way to make money tomorrow, to improve the family's situation as soon as possible. It's already autumn. In winter the temperature of -20 degrees Celsius freezes water into ice. Your wife and children need new cotton clothes, otherwise they won't survive this winter. After hearing the water stop, you got up and walked into the room. Seeing you suddenly appear, Lin Qingshui was startled and dodged to the side repeatedly. Don't come near me. Seeing this scene, you cursed yourself for being too beastly before. You also knew that her knot couldn't be untied in a short time. So you reminded her in a gentle tone, I am just coming in to take the water out. After saying that, you picked up the water on the ground and walked out. Lin Qingshui ignored you, seeing you quickly put on your clothes as soon as you went out. In the yard you used the hot water your wife had used to quickly rinse yourself off. After all, to catch those few turtle doves, you lay in the grass for a long time. After washing, you sat down on the threshold, recalling your experiences in your past life. For a while, several outsiders always wanted to go into the mountains to collect things. They were afraid of getting lost. They found you who had nothing to do to lead the way. At that time you thought these city people were just bored and had nothing to do. Having seen their actions many times, you also knew how to collect those wild dendrobiums. Now you can completely dig them up and sell them. You immediately perked up, tied a torch, prepared some not-so-professional tools, then shouted into the house. Ching ching, you lock the door. I am going out for a bit. You went out and didn't come back until the next morning. Didn't get home until 4 a.m. Accidentally found a civet cat nest while going down the mountain. Dug out a few civet kittens that hadn't opened their eyes yet. Handled them quickly after getting home. Left one in the kitchen. Then took 2 baskets to town. There's a market in town on odd-numbered days. You found a crowded spot. Took the civet meat and skins out of the baskets. Young man, your mountain goods are good. You originally thought you wouldn't be able to sell them, so you'd take them back and stew them, and share some with your elder brother, second brother, and third sister. Unexpectedly, as soon as you set things up, someone asked about the price of civet meat. The old man and old woman saw you, a young man, suntanned. They could tell you were from the mountains. Plus the price was reasonable. They ordered 2 on the spot. In those days you needed meat coupons to buy meat, so only these mountain goods could be bought. Well, take them back to treat our little grandson. As they were leaving, the old woman tugged on the old man's clothes and gestured to him to also skin all the civets. She said she'd make gloves for her little grandson. And so in less than 2 hours, all the civets were sold. Then you took the goods you collected yesterday to the old well-known pharmacy in town. When you took out the items, the old man with thick glass lenses' eyes widened. He carefully took the goods, examined them closely, then held out his hand and named a price. Young man, this price. You saw the price he offered, and frowned slightly. This guy thinks I am a bumpkin from the mountains and is trying to cheat me. So you reached out to take your things back. Seeing this, the old man reached out and held you down, then stroked his goatee and appeased you. If you're not satisfied with the price, we can discuss it further. 6 stacks of great unity. Can't go any higher. Although this big item was accidentally stepped on by me, its value is far more than this price. But I need money urgently. My wife and children are starving at home. After thinking for a moment, you decided to sell. Then you went to buy meat and flour. After visiting 2 supply and marketing cooperatives, you finally managed to buy the rare milk powder of this era. As you were about to leave, you remembered your wife's patched old clothes from yesterday. So you walked into the only small state-run department store in town. On the way back, you took a detour to find an old hunter in his 70s. Gave him a pile of food. Only then did you manage to trade for the old hunter's extremely precious hunting rifle. In those days you needed coupons to eat meat. To achieve freedom of eating meat, you still needed to do it yourself. As you got close to home, you noticed Lin Qingshui carrying a child was working in the field, and your elder brother Zhao Zhengxing saw you approaching. He immediately flew into a rage. Where the hell have you been again? You made your wife go to the fields to work. Suddenly he was furious. Where have you been again? Let your wife go to the fields and work herself. Looking at the older brother in front of me, your nose twitched. I went to town to work. I also bought some meat and flour back. Come to our house for dinner with your sister-in-law and children tonight. Hearing this, big brother looked at you suspiciously. He sized you up, looking at the mud spots on your pant legs, and then at the full basket. Your sister-in-law steamed a pot of cornmeal buns at noon. Let me take a few back for your wife later. We won't come over to eat. Treat your sister-in-law well from now on. So you didn't say anything else. You nodded and carried your things back home. If you want to appease your wife, you must first appease her stomach. So you started busy in the kitchen. When it was almost dark, Lin Qingshui came home with several cornmeal buns. As soon as she walked into the yard, she smelled the aroma of meat from the kitchen. So she hurried to the kitchen door. She saw you busy at the simple stove. Lin Qingshui had been busy all day, and her stomach was rumbling with hunger. After putting down the cornmeal buns, she went into the bedroom. She put the sleeping child on the small bed, but when she turned her head, she saw a can of milk powder on the table. Lin Qingshui's blood rushed to her head. She ran into the kitchen and slapped you. Did you go to force my mother to give you money again? How can you be so scoundrel? When your wife suddenly brought up this matter, you gradually remembered that you were a scoundrel. You had indeed threatened your mother-in-law with a knife for money before. So you quickly denied it, saying, I don't have money. This is all I earned today. Saying that you quickly reached into your crotch. Seeing this, Lin Qingshui got even angrier. What time is it? You're still thinking about that. Then she stepped forward and slapped you again. After being slapped twice, you were so amused that you didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Seeing that Lin Qingshui had no intention of stopping, you quickly took out the 5 large unity bills from your crotch. This is the money I earned today. When Lin Qingshui saw the large unity bills being stuffed into her hand, she felt dizzy. Seeing that his wife was about to fall, you reached out to help her, but Lin Qingshui slapped your hand away fiercely. She couldn't believe it. How could a good-for-nothing like you earn so much money in a day? What shameful things did you do outside? What should I do? Life is really unbearable. Seeing that Lin Qingshui didn't believe you at all, you almost knelt down to her. I went up the mountain last night to collect wild Gastrodia ulata, and I happened to encounter a civet cat's nest. This thing sold for 6 large unity bills. I spent 1 to buy food. This is all that's left. As soon as she heard about Gastrodia ulata, Lin Qingshui's eyes regained some spirit. There is ginseng in the north, and Gastrodia ulata in the south. That thing has high medicinal value. It can be sold for money, but it all grows in the deep mountains. It's very hard to find, not to mention in the dark of night. But upon careful consideration, this morning there were indeed bloodstains by the well. There's still civet meat stewing in the pot. Could it be that I wrongly accused him? But how did he know Shi Jia? Under Lin Qingshui's gaze, you raise your right hand and swear, I really didn't do anything bad. Otherwise, it'll be infertile. Seeing his wife's breathing stabilize a bit, and her eyes were no longer so fierce, he breathed a sigh of relief. Qingshui quickly put the money away. I'll go give my elder brother's family some meat. Let them have a taste too. Although hiding money in the space is safer, but giving money to my wife is giving up household authority. Then you picked up a plate of stir-fried civet meat, and a bowl of stewed crucian carp and tofu soup, and placed them on the table in the main hall. Then you went back to the kitchen and got a full bowl of meat, and walked towards your elder brother's house. On the way you also paid back the money owed to old man Huang for the rice paste, and the previous wine money. Lin Qingshui on the other hand looked at the large denomination bills in her hand, and hurried back to the room. Having been married for over 2 years, you always extorted money from her. This was the first time you voluntarily gave her money, so she divided the money into 5 portions, and hid them separately. Hearing steady footsteps outside, she came out of the room, looking at the steaming dishes and soup on the table. She was a little dazed. Then she went to the kitchen to take a look. The flour bin was more than half full. The oil can was also full. A piece of pork belly weighing over 10 catties was hanging from the beam. Has he really changed? At this moment Lin Qingshui couldn't be sure. After all, a dog can't change its habits. Seeing Lin Qingshui sit down, you put a pheasant leg into her bowl. I'll go up the mountain first thing tomorrow, before winter arrives. Quickly collect all the places where stone who can be dug. After all, this is currently the fastest way to make money. When the country opens up, I'll have money to invest in other things. Hearing your words, Lin Qingshui was stunned for a moment and nodded, saying nothing. Last night he was just lucky. Stepped on a stone who? How could he be so lucky every time? Lin Qingshui wanted to remind you, if you really want to make money, find a job. Although it's only a few cents a day, it's better than no income. But thinking of your personality, as long as you don't go out gambling, she'll let you drink. She held her chopsticks, and wanted to put the pheasant leg back into the bowl. Seeing her like this, you quickly used the child as an excuse to stop her. Wife, you're too thin. Eat more, otherwise the child won't have milk to drink. No matter how good milk powder is, it can't compare to breast milk. And milk powder is expensive and hard to buy. This is crucian carp and tofu soup. It helps with lactation. These words made Lin Qingshui glare at you. Her knuckles turned white as she gripped her chopsticks. But she didn't refuse anymore. You've been busy all day and night today. Tired and exhausted. The family's livelihood problems are finally solved. After filling his stomach, he said directly, Wife, I am going to sleep first. Saying that, he got up, bent over and entered the inner room. He fell asleep as soon as he lay down. When Lin Qingshui finished washing the dishes and returned to the room, she saw the clothes you took off on the floor. Her brows furrowed. Then she picked them up and washed the clothes in the moonlight. After finishing, she dragged her tired body back to the bedroom. She accidentally kicked the laundry basket with her foot. Lin Qingshui picked it up and looked. It turned out to be a brand new set of women's clothes, and 3 sets of baby clothes. So she stared at you, who was already asleep for a long time. She couldn't quite understand this person anymore. You slept so soundly that it was dark and chaotic. The daughter woke up twice in the night. But you didn't wake up at all. Until early morning. You finally opened your eyes in a daze. You turned over. You saw Lin Qingshui curled up with her back to you. At this time she was only wearing a worn-out undershirt. It made your mouth water. After all, after Lin Qingshui died in her previous life, you never found another woman. So you reached out and pulled her into your arms. All of this felt like a dream. So unreal. Just as you were about to lower your head to kiss her, the wife in your arms suddenly stiffened. She was clearly resisting your touch. So you suppressed the bitterness in your heart. You turned over and got out of bed. You'll have to bear with it for now. You took the washed clothes from the clothesline. You didn't care if they were dry. You quickly put them on. Then you quickly took the things out of the basket and put them on the table. At this time Lin Qingshui on the bed sat up. She said to you with a cold face, if you really want to change, find a job. As long as you're willing to work, you can earn over 10 yuan a month. Our family can get by. Hearing your wife speak to you proactively, you were overjoyed. You knew that Lin Qingshui was considering you. But fate gave you a chance to live again. You must save enough startup capital when everything is fully opened up. In your previous life after they left, you were like a stray dog, wandering around for some days. Later you met a benefactor, and had the opportunity to work as a service staff in a state-run store. Because you were sweet-mouthed and good at talking, you were gradually promoted to manager. This also gave you the opportunity to interact with those important people across class boundaries. In this life, you want to earn your first pot of gold as quickly as possible with your own hands. So hunting and collecting dendrobium is the fastest way to make money now. More importantly, you now have the memories of your previous life. You know where to find dendrobium. Such a good opportunity. How could you let it go? It's just that you don't know how to explain to your wife yet why you insist on going up the mountain to collect dendrobium. Seeing that you were silent for a long time, Lin Qingshui knew that you were being stubborn. So she pulled up the quilt and lay down again. There were still cornmeal steamed buns left for you in the pot on the kitchen stove. Hearing her words, your sword eyebrows raised. Your face was full of unconcealable joy. His face was full of unconcealable joy. Came to the bedside immediately. Kissed Lin Qingshui on the cheek. I made an agreement with our eldest brother yesterday. You don't need to help them out today. The pork in the kitchen when I have time. I'll send half of it to my mother-in-law. And Lin Qingshui saw you approaching. Thought she had angered you. And was going to hit her again. But didn't expect you to sneak attack her. Didn't hear what you said clearly. Nor did she see. You kissed your daughter before leaving. When she came to her senses, you were long gone. In the dim room, only she and her daughter sleeping on the small bed were left. Although it was still early, she tossed and turned, and couldn't sleep anymore. Just lay in bed until the sun shone on her backside. Heard someone knocking on the door outside. Second sister-in-law, coming so early. Lu Guiwa's eyes darted around the kitchen. She smiled so happily. Fourth brother's wife. I heard eldest sister-in-law say, your family ate meat last night. Did your fourth brother win big gambling? Saying this without waiting for a reply. Her feet seemed to have eyes. Heading straight for the kitchen door. Good heavens, this fourth brother wouldn't have gone stealing or robbing, would he? How much would such a large piece of meat cost? Her family hasn't seen any meat for more than half a year. The child had been crying for days, but she couldn't bear to buy it. Finally pulled her eyes away, but then she caught sight of the dark wall. There was still half a pheasant hanging there. She immediately became agitated. Fourth brother's wife, you must keep a close eye on your man. Gambling might lead to re-education through labor. Lin Qingshui heard her say this. Her face gradually darkened. What kind of talk is that? If it's illegal, the police will arrest him. You don't need to worry about its second sister-in-law. Lu Guiwa wanted to say more, but her eyes rolled as if she thought of something, and she swallowed the words that were about to come out. Don't be angry, second sister-in-law. I am just worried about our fourth brother. My husband is his own brother. My little Bao cried from craving meat. Can you lend me 5 caddies of meat first? I'll have your second brother send you the money later. After more than 2 years of getting along, Lin Qingshui knew her second sister-in-law like the back of her hand. She had long figured out what kind of person this second sister-in-law was. Once something entered her house, it was like a meat bun thrown to a dog. She asked for 5 caddies of meat right away, let alone that she didn't dare to lend it to her. Even if she had the authority, it would be impossible. I can't make such a big decision. Wait for fourth brother to come back and tell him. Saying this, she walked over and locked the kitchen door. Lu Guiwa saw her like this, and was very unhappy. When fourth brother comes back, remember to tell him to send the meat to my house. As she turned to leave, the smile on Lu Guiwa's face couldn't be maintained. On the mountain it was almost noon. Relying on your memories from your past life, it took a lot of effort. Finally found a wild dendrobium nobile. With yesterday's experience of getting dirty, when the dendrobium nobile exposed most of its root system, it was already time. This one is much bigger than yesterday's. Until it got dark, you carefully managed to get the whole big one out. Just as you were about to go down the mountain to go home, you turned and bumped into a Sika deer. It looked like it came to eat the dendrobium nobile. Seeing this, you quickly took out the hunting rifle you traded from your space yesterday. In just a breath, the gunshot echoed through the forest, startling flocks of birds to scatter and flee. Meanwhile at home, Lin Qingshui had already prepared dinner. After warming the milk powder for her daughter, she still hadn't seen you return, so her brows furrowed. Rice. Dendrobium nobile isn't that easy to find. It's better to have him learn a trade steadily. Just as Lin Qingshui was lost in thought, you quietly walked into the yard. Only when you took out the things from the basket did Lin Qingshui inside the house hear movement. She came out holding her daughter. Wash your hands and eat. After saying that, she went back into the house with her daughter. You noticed your wife glance into the basket, but she didn't say anything. When you entered the house, you saw steaming hot dishes on the table. Your eyes welled up with emotion, wishing you could go back to your past life and slap yourself. Such a beautiful and virtuous wife. How could you not have cherished her properly? You walked to the table and sat down, devouring the food. I'll go to the village chief's house later. Get our house wired up these days. Hearing this, Lin Qingshui paused while patting her child's hand. She couldn't help but speak. If we get electricity, we'll have to pay electricity bills every month from now on. After saying that, she secretly glanced at you, afraid she might anger you and make you flip the table. You keenly caught Lin Qingshui's expression, then put down your chopsticks, walked to the door and brought the basket inside. This is what I dug today. I'll sell it at the city pharmacy another day. It should fetch a good price. Lin Qingshui stared intently at the dendrobium nobile. She raised her eyes to look at you, and asked in disbelief, did you really dig it? Seeing this, you continued to explain. I swear I didn't steal or rob. This is truly the result of my days digging in the mountains. Lin Qingshui saw your honest expression, and nodded with lingering doubt. Our second sister-in-law came over during the day. She wanted to borrow 5 caddies of pork. Seeing Lin Qingshui's displeased face, it was clear she was unhappy. Perhaps because you weren't home, your second sister-in-law had upset her. So you said with a serious expression, you're in charge of this household from now on. Money and everything are under your control. If you don't want to lend it, we won't lend it. Lin Qingshui was puzzled by your words. After pondering for a while, she timidly said, I don't want to lend it. Although my second sister-in-law said she was borrowing it, she definitely won't return it. This isn't the first time she's borrowed things from our family and not returned them. Hearing Lin Qingshui's words, a look of relief appeared on your face. You playfully flicked her nose. If you don't want to lend, then don't lend. I won't take her attitude. Your smile. Lin Qingshui was stunned. Then she picked up her daughter and went into the inner room. After you've had your fill, wash the bowls and chopsticks clean. Then cut half a pound of meat, and slip out the door in the dark. Village Chief Wang Shenju saw it was you, and his dark old face was startled. Then he looked at the meat in his hand, and his face full of wrinkles broke into a smile. Looking for uncle so late, he asked, taking the meat from your hand. I want to install an electric light at home. Can you help arrange it when you have time? I'll arrange this for you tomorrow. When you heard him say that, you didn't stay long, stood up, thanked him and turned to leave. But when you reached the kitchen, you saw Lin Qingshui in the dark kitchen, gnawing on the leftover meat bones you had eaten. This scene made your eyeballs ache, and your blood seemed to freeze. Then you said in a hoarse voice, what are you doing? When Lin Qingshui heard it was your voice, she was startled and trembled, and the bone she was about to eat fell to the ground. Then she looked at you in the yard with a face full of fear. Don't hit me. These are what you gnawed on. I just felt it would be a shame to throw them away. At this moment you felt like you were struck by lightning. You had never felt so defeated. Then you knelt down in front of him with a thud. Lin Qingshui, however, screamed in fear. What do you want to do? Lin Qingshui lowered her eyelids, looking at the man kneeling in front of her, until she felt her chest being moistened by warmth. He was actually crying. Her long closed heart seemed to have loosened a little. Seeing his wife so scared while eating his leftovers was like a knife stabbing into your heart. So you stood up from the ground, cupped your wife's tear-stained cheeks, and kissed away the tears in her eyes. Wife, go wait in the main hall. I'll bring the food in when it's ready. You are my great benefactor. Lin Qingshui didn't understand this sentence. Shy as if she had seen a ghost, she slipped out of the kitchen. You busied yourself in the kitchen for a while, and a plate of fragrant stir-fried meat slices came out of the pot. He felt the coarse grain steamed buns stuck in his throat, but his wife cherished them and wouldn't eat a bite. Just as he walked into the inner room, he saw a beautiful white back. Instantly blood rushed to his abdomen. You stepped forward a few paces, and from behind you embraced her. Wife, don't leave me again. Lost in the moment, Lin Qingshui felt for the first time that doing this kind of thing was so comfortable and pleasurable. This was the first time since their wedding night that they slept so intimately together. Thinking of the scene last night, Lin Qingshui's cheeks felt hot. Turning her head and seeing the child on the small bed, Lin Qingshui's face suddenly turned pale. Last night she didn't seem to hear her daughter crying. Seeing his wife's sudden change in expression, her eyes fixed on their daughter, he quickly got out of bed. He darted to his daughter's small bed in a few steps. He saw that his daughter was already awake. She was smiling with her big eyes wide open. Looking at your daughter at this moment, your heart softened. He carefully held his daughter in his arms. He returned to the bedside, seeing that his daughter was fine and smiling with her mouth pursed. The big stone in Lin Qingshui's heart finally landed. Her tense nerves also relaxed. Then her eyes turned red and she almost cried. She regretted how she could have slept so soundly last night. Such a young child. If something were to happen, what would she do? Wife, you lie down with Nianyu for a while longer. I'll go make you breakfast. As he said that, you picked up the pants thrown on the ground and put them on directly. Lin Qingshui checked the diaper under her daughter's butt. Although it wasn't neatly arranged, it was changed cleanly. No wonder she didn't hear her daughter crying last night. So this scoundrel got up to take care of his daughter. This is the first time since giving birth she took the initiative to take care of the child. So has he really changed? Can she trust him one more time? On the other side, you were skillfully busy in the kitchen when your wife came out with the child. The meal was ready. Tofu, small greens and cornmeal porridge, plus mixed grain steamed buns. You bare-chested took the child from Lin Qingshui's arms. You go wash up first. Lin Qingshui was a little worried, but seeing you holding the little child clumsily, she chuckled. This is your own daughter, not a tiger. Can she bite you? While eating, village chief Wang Shenju came with an electrician. As soon as he entered the yard, he saw Lin Qingshui sitting at the table in the yard eating. You bare-chested were strolling in the yard holding the child. He noticed a neat row of teeth marks on the inside of your arm. He smiled meaningfully. Jungho, you haven't finished eating yet. You didn't expect Wang Shenju to find people so early. You took the village chief and the electrician to the entrance outside the yard to chat. After Lin Qingshui finished eating and returned to the house, you handed the child to your wife. Then from the pocket of your loose pants, you took out a pack of Dachinmin cigarettes. The village chief looked at the Dachinmin cigarette in his hand. He grinned with his big yellow teeth. Said, you little brat, you've made it. A pack of these costs 4 mao. The other electrician smiled even more heartily. He tucked the cigarette behind his ear and carried the ladder around to the back of the house. This job was worth it. He usually couldn't bear to smoke cigarettes that cost 4 mao a pack. This family is generous. After the electricity was connected, you returned to the house. A piece of clothing flew towards you. Before you could figure out what was happening, you heard Lin Qingshui say, hurry up and put on your clothes. What do you look like with your chest bare? At this moment there were several scratch marks on your back. Those were left by Lin Qingshui last night. The village chief and the electrician both saw them, but neither of them said anything. However, you didn't know anything. You wandered around bare-chested. This made Lin Qingshui so embarrassed. I wish I could find a hole to crawl into. With outsiders present, she felt too embarrassed to remind him. Until you went up the mountain. Lin Qingshui covered her flushed cheeks. After a long while, she then proceeded to take apart the bedding to wash it. She moved the child's small bed into the yard and placed the child on it. She filled a basin with water preparing to wash the bedding. At this moment Lin's mother arrived carrying a basket. It contained eggs and a small piece of meat. Lin Qingshui saw her mother and quickly wiped her hands and stood up. Why did you come? Lin's mother carried the basket into the kitchen. Her gaze swept over her daughter. Seeing her worn and ill-fitting clothes, her eyes welled up with sadness. She quickly averted her gaze and picked up her granddaughter from the small bed saying, we just finished being busy at home. I came to see you. As she spoke, her eyes scanned the dilapidated 3-room thatched hut. She regretted it every moment that she had agreed to this marriage. She had brought great harm to her daughter. Mom has thought about it. If you really can't go on with him, then get a divorce. You're young and you have a long life ahead of you. Your life should be ruined by this scoundrel. Lin Qingshui heard her mother's words and was stunned at first. She sat on the stool for a long time without a sound. That day you snatched the money that I borrowed from my family to buy rice cereal for my daughter and went to buy wine. She truly felt utterly desperate. She felt that being with him, she couldn't see any hope at all. Even the thought of death crossed her mind. At that moment she wanted to jump into the reservoir with her daughter. But after you sobered up, you first felt regret and slapped yourself more than 10 times. Then you hurriedly went out to buy rice cereal for the child. In the past few days, he noticed that you seem to have become a different person. You haven't gone out gallivanting anymore. You don't drink anymore. And you don't gamble anymore. Lin's mother looked at her daughter, who was lowering her head and not speaking. Thinking she was worried about the child, she said, if you want to take the child, Mom can help you raise her from now on. She hesitated at this point. It's just that it's not good to remarry if you stay at home to raise a child. Divorce is very rare in these times. No matter how bitter or difficult life is, women have to grit their teeth and get through it. Hearing her mother had even thought through the matter of remarrying after divorce, Lin Qingshui took the child from her mother's embrace. I am not thinking of divorcing right now. He seems to be slowly improving now. As she spoke, she tugged at the brand new little clothes on the child. These are clothes he earned money to buy for the child. He also bought a set for me, but I haven't had the heart to wear it. Lin's mother looked at her daughter. On her fair and tender face, a blush that hadn't been seen in a long time appeared, and her eyes seemed to light up again. She couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. She had clearly overheard the neighbor Ermazi yesterday saying he owed an outsider 50 yuan. She clearly overheard the neighbors Ermazi saying yesterday he owed outsiders 50 yuan. Such a large debt. He doesn't do anything serious. How can it be repaid? Precisely because of this, she couldn't rest assured. She came early in the morning with things to check, but seeing her daughter's expression, it didn't seem fake. If he really turned over a new leaf, she would find a way to get this money herself. Even if she had to sell everything, she would help him repay it. Thinking of this, she didn't tell her daughter what she had heard, fearing that she would have a rift with you over this matter. She gathered her thoughts. Her eyes red, she nodded with relief. It would be good if he could change. Then Mom would be at ease. Saying this, she raised her hand to wipe away the tears flowing from the corners of her eyes. You who just went up the mountain at this time, eating coarse grain steamed buns, calculating how much it would cost to build a 2-story building now. Calculated based on the price of dendrobium you can dig now. After building the house, there would still be a considerable deposit at this time. After all, at this time, even 10,000 yuan households were not common. Thinking that you would definitely have to live in the village for the next 2 years. First, improve the living conditions. The current 3 dilapidated mud houses. At your height you feel like you can't straighten your waist. The inside is even more dusty, crumbling everywhere. It's really not a place for people to live. At this time you had no idea that your mother-in-law was discussing with your wife whether to get a divorce. If you knew this, you probably wouldn't have the mood to go up the mountain to dig dendrobium recently. After all, living a second life, making money is important in your heart, but nothing is as important as your wife and children. You know the ways to make money from your previous life, so there's no rush for this moment. It was almost noon. Mother Lin didn't even have time to eat. She was eager to go home, fearing that if she ate one more bite, her daughter would have one less bite to eat. Lin Qingshui couldn't stop her, so she took the meat hanging in the kitchen cut off a large piece with a knife and chased after her. Take this back to eat with your brother and sister-in-law. Mother Lin saw such a large piece of meat, and repeatedly waved her hands, refusing to accept it, fearing that you would know she was subsidizing her family so much, and would hit her daughter again, even more afraid that her daughter would have nothing to eat herself, and be wronged. You keep it to eat. We are not short of this at home. Look how thin you are. Otherwise where would the child get milk to drink? Mother Lin finally didn't take the meat. She walked away step by step with her basket. Lin Qingshui stood at the door, watched her mother walk further and further away, until she couldn't see her anymore. Then she turned back to the kitchen with the meat. Zhang Gilan next door was about the same age as Lin Qingshui, but she got married 2 years earlier than her. Her skin was dark. She was gnawing on a raw radish with her hands leaning on the wall. Sister, you don't go out all day. It's all over town. Your second sister-in-law was dealt with by your second brother last night. The crying could be heard by several families. Lin Qingshui, who came out of the kitchen, Lin Qingshui, who walked out of the kitchen, sitting on a stool in the courtyard, responded intermittently. Zhang Gilan saw that she didn't talk much, pulled over a stool and sat down in front of her wash basin, lowered her voice and said softly, "Everyone outside is spreading rumors about your second brother's eldest son, not your second brother's." When Lin Qingshui heard this, the work in her hands immediately stopped, looked up at Zhang Gilan. "It's your eldest brother's seed." Zhang Gilan saw the confusion in her eyes, stuffed the half-eaten radish into her pocket, whispered in her ear with a gossipy face. Lin Qingshui was stunned after hearing everything. She really couldn't believe such a thing. She used to respect this eldest brother quite a bit, thought he was loyal and honest, fair in his dealings, had the demeanor of an elder brother. But after hearing this, she felt a bit disgusted. How could this happen? Zhang Gilan seemed very satisfied with her reaction, patted the young wife from the city. "I need to go home and cook for my husband, so I won't chat with you anymore. That night you came back very late. This time when you returned, you saw the lights on at home from afar. Couldn't help but sigh. These electric lights are indeed brighter than oil lamps." Lin Qingshui saw you return, quickly brought out the dishes that were kept warm in the pot, and the white steamed buns. Casually asked, "Why did you come back so late today? Noticed some dirt on your clothes." Put down the dishes and started patting the dirt off your clothes. You quickly stopped her, turned around and bolted the door of the main room, then rummaged through the straw in the pannier and found something, carefully placed it on the table, dug up Dendrobium officinale, encountered an unexpected gain on the way back. You didn't tell your wife that you slipped and fell. That's how you found this thing. It took a lot of effort to climb back up. That's why you came back so late. The price of this thing now is no less than that of Dendrobium candidum. It's all sold by the gram. Consider it a small windfall. Tonight I'll have a good time with my wife. I won't go to the mountains tomorrow. I'll go deal with the goods in hand first." Lin Qingshui looked at the dark brown thing on the table, shaped a bit like ginger. She seemed to have seen it in a book. Asked with uncertainty, "Is this Polygonum multiflorum?" Her tone was filled with disbelief. You didn't expect your wife to be so knowledgeable. Most people in the village still don't know how precious it is. Otherwise so many treasures on the mountain would have been collected long ago. Polygonum multiflorum will remain precious for another 10 years or so. After that, with the improvement of cultivation technology, these can be artificially cultivated, and will become common in the market, and will no longer be rare. But even so, the price of wild rare medicinal materials is still outrageously high, because wild ones are simply impossible to buy. You bared your teeth, pulled your charming wife into your arms, lowered your head and kissed her fair cheek. Facing her bright eyes you said, "He shou wu, tomorrow I'll take you and the child to stroll around the city. By the way, sell these treasures to the pharmacy. Heard you were taking the child out." Lin Qingshui's body stiffened abruptly, remembered what he said before, that he wanted to sell his daughter to a childless family in the city. She was still worried about it. Who knows if they really can't have children, or if they bought her to be a child bride. She broke free from his embrace, refused with caution and vigilance. "My daughter is still young. We won't go. Hurry up and wash your hands and eat. You noticed your wife was acting strange. I wanted to take her out for a walk, and buy her some winter clothes. But seeing her become vigilant again, clearly afraid that I would have bad intentions towards our daughter again. The scoundrel things I've done. It's not that easy to let her let go of her worries. Trust has long been overdrawn. We can only take it slow." You took off your mud-splattered shirt, opened the door and went out to wash your face simply. Came back in and sat down. Only then did I see the dishes on the table. A plate of golden fried eggs, and a small plate of leftover stir-fried meat from the morning. Did she not eat vegetables at noon? If she continues to be so frugal, when will she be plump and healthy? It seems I need to earn more money quickly, to make her feel at ease. Where did these eggs come from? Lin Qingshui lowered her head and served you a bowl of congee. You hadn't been out long. My mother came over. She brought them. My own mother brought up the divorce. She didn't mention a word. When you heard it was from your mother-in-law, thinking about asking her for money to drink before, I felt ashamed and didn't dare to see her. I didn't ask why my mother-in-law came over. I was calculating in my heart, when I sell the things I have tomorrow, I'll pay back the money I borrowed from my mother-in-law. You reached out and pulled your wife to sit down. Eat quickly, saying that you handed her a mixed grain steamed bun. My wife is still reluctant to steam white flour steamed buns. She steamed mixed grain steamed buns with half white flour. You picked up a cornmeal steamed bun and ate it heartily. Lin Qingshui took a small bite of the mixed grain steamed bun, and looked up to secretly observe the man in front of her. How nice it would be if he could always be like this. But she didn't know how long his enthusiasm would last. As the two were eating, a knock on the door sounded from outside. My second brother. Come out, we're one short. The brothers are waiting for you to drink and play cards. Lin Qingshui's face turned pale when she heard this voice. Her eyes stared blankly. She was afraid you would go out drinking and gambling with them again like before. You heard this voice, and paused for a moment. Then you remembered who it was. You put down your chopsticks, and looked up to see your wife's pale little face. You quickly got up and hugged her. What's wrong, wife? Your tone was full of worry and nervousness. Lin Qingshui, who was being hugged, her slender fair fingers. Lin Qingshui held in Lu Jin's arms. Slender white fingers. The little undershirt on your chest. Her lips trembled slightly. You're going to go drinking and playing cards with them again. When you heard this, you finally understood why your wife was like this. It turns out she was afraid your old habits would relapse. Your chin rested on the soft top of her head. Your arms tightened unconsciously, holding her even tighter. The body in your arms was incredibly thin. After marrying you, she hadn't had a single good day. Even a full meal had become a luxury. She was still holding on to hope for you, wanting to live a stable life with you. You took a deep breath, forcing back the stinging heat in your eyes. You spoke in a deep hoarse voice to comfort her. Don't worry, I'll get rid of them right now. I won't hang out with them anymore. Lin Qingshui sitting sideways in your arms. Upon hearing your words, she looked up, her gaze scrutinizing and stared directly at you, questioning. Really not going? You lowered your eyelids, meeting your wife's uneasy and scrutinizing eyes. You really wanted to take out your heart and show it to her. To tell her you had truly reformed. You couldn't help but peck her perky nose again. You assured her with a breath of clean hot air. Don't worry, I'll make them get lost right now. Then you gently placed your wife back on the stool. You continue eating first. I'll be right back. You straightened up. You noticed the little undershirt on your chest was still tightly held in your wife's hand. If you didn't know the three guys outside were not good people, you would have wanted to take her out with you. Let her see you refuse them, so she could be reassured. You lowered your head and kissed the top of her head again. As a form of comfort, your rough, hot, large hand gently patted her thin back. Only then did she slowly let go. You straightened your body and walked out with strong strides. You arrived at the courtyard entrance and opened the wooden door. When the men at the door saw you come out, the one called Lu Ji smiled lewdly and said with a vulgar joke, "You're not being decent. Your wife just got out of confinement not long ago, and you're already out of bed. It's been days. You haven't come to find us brothers for a drink." Hearing those scoundrel words, your sharp eyebrows showed anger. You roared in a deep voice. "Watch your mouth from now on. If you don't know how to speak, shut your stinking mouth." The other two were also laughing along. Seeing your displeased expression, they immediately stopped smiling and quickly tried to smooth things over, saying, "Fourth brother, he's just got a loose tongue. Don't bother with him. Let's go for a drink, brothers." Saying that, he reached out to put his arm around your shoulder. You easily pushed his outstretched arm away. You glanced at the other two out of the corner of your eye. "If it's about drinking and playing cards, don't come looking for me anymore." The three of them saw your posture, as if they had seen a ghost. You looked at me and I looked at you. The one called Lu Ji still had a lewd smile on his face, fearlessly continued to tease. "Fourth brother, are you still stuck in bed with your little sister-in-law? Since she's out of confinement, let us brothers have a try too." Before he finished speaking, you kicked him right in the chest, sending him flying onto his back. Lying on the ground groaning, you strode forward, placing your foot between the guy's legs. Bending down, your dark eyes flashing with ferocity, staring intently at the scoundrel on the ground. "If you dare to spew shit from your mouth again, I'll sew up both your upper and lower mouths, and then break your third leg." Saying this, you pressed down harder with your foot. Lu Ji lay on the ground, ignoring the pain in his chest, his hands desperately pushing against your foot on his shoulder, screaming like a banshee. "Fourth brother, I was wrong. I won't talk nonsense anymore." The other two were so scared they lost their souls, unable to speak for a long time, emanating a murderous aura, looking very menacing in the night. No one dared to step forward to mediate. They had been afraid of this guy since they were kids. He was a ruthless character who fought like he didn't care about his life. But today was the first time they saw him just getting angry, like a hungry tiger about to devour someone, making their spines tingle. You were afraid Lu Ji would blabber and call his wife over, not wanting your wife to see your violent side, so as not to scare her. If she became afraid of you again because of this trivial matter, it would be over. You straightened up, glaring down at Lu Ji on the ground, and retracted your foot. The two men, as if granted amnesty, quickly helped Lu Ji up, and said to you, "Fourth brother, we'll be going now." After the three of them left, you retracted your aggressive demeanor, and walked into the courtyard, bolting the door. Lin Qingshui inside the house had been restless since you went out, like sitting on pins and needles. Every minute and second felt unbearable, seeing that you hadn't returned for so long. Her heart had grown cold, her stomach was growling with hunger, but looking at the steaming hot meal on the table, she couldn't eat a single bite without you there. In just a few days, seeing you gradually get better, unconsciously, hope rekindled in her heart for you. She didn't expect you to become rich and noble. She just hoped you could live a stable life. But if you went out drinking and gambling again, what would she do? The child was still so young. She couldn't possibly take her out to work. Did she really have to get a divorce? Just as she was lost in thought, a steady sound of footsteps was heard. His eyes involuntarily glanced in the direction of the sound. He saw his tall figure walk in from the moonlight. At this moment, Lin Qingshui's previously lifeless eyes suddenly lit up. He actually didn't go out fooling around with those scoundrels. She was still in a daze when you had already walked behind her, bending down to embrace her in your broad arms. You lowered your head and kissed your wife's fair cheek. "Your man is just going out for a bit. I don't recognize you." As he spoke, he handed her the chopsticks. He sat down at the table, and picked up the cornmeal bun, devouring it in large bites. Lin Qingxue was still a little slow to react, and subconsciously asked, "Are you really not going to fool around with them anymore?" Reporting Madam Wife, "I've completely cut ties with them. I won't hang out with them anymore." Only then did Lin Qingxue nod, and slowly began to eat. While eating, she occasionally stole glances at her man. Seeing that you ate quickly, but your eating manners were not bad, coupled with your handsome face with sharp features, it was actually more pleasing to the eye. When she married him, besides him saving her life, part of the reason was also that he looked decent. At that time she was infatuated with his appearance, and coupled with the exchange marriage for her brother, she married him who was poor and had nothing. Seeing his wife staring at him in a daze, you didn't know what she was pondering in her little head. You put a piece of golden fried egg on her bun, and with a grin you teased, "Eat quickly, it'll let you see enough in bed later." Your nonsense brought Lin Qingxue back to her senses. Looking at his roguish appearance, after giving you a fierce glare, she blushed and lowered her head, burying herself in eating. After you were full you didn't rush to leave, nestling on the stool, staring intently at your wife. The more you looked the more you liked her. Clearly in this era material things were scarce. Food was not good and there were few cosmetics, but her skin was still smooth and radiant, more beautiful than any celebrity who had had injections. You noticed that your wife's knuckles were red as she held her chopsticks. You took her slender wrist, pulled it in front of your eyes, and thought of the bedsheets drying outside. You decided to sell the things you had tomorrow, and get a ticket for a washing machine from the black market. In this era many people didn't even know what a washing machine was, let alone be willing to spend money to buy one. With a washing machine, your wife wouldn't have to rub clothes by hand anymore. Lin Qingxue pulled her hand back, feeling extremely shy under your gaze. "If you're full, go boil some water and wash yourself. You're covered in mud." You stood up, kissed your wife on the cheek, and went to the kitchen to boil water. After you left, Lin Qingxue put down her chopsticks, touched her hot cheeks. Ever since last night this person has liked to hug and hold her, and occasionally kiss her. Every time he got close, everyone could smell the pheromones on him. It made her heart pound like a rabbit in a cage. Thump thump beating wildly, she couldn't figure out what was going on. After eating, you pulled Lin Qingxue along, saying you wanted to take her for a walk, to help her digest. On the way back, you didn't go home. You changed direction with Lin Qingxue. A dilapidated mud house next to the cowshed. A simple earthen stove was built outside. The woman inside clutched her chest and coughed incessantly. She scooped out a small handful of cornmeal, mixed it with water and put it in a chipped ceramic pot. Just a few steps, her face turned pale. Large beads of sweat rolled down her forehead. Just as she was worried, a man with half-white hair strode over from not far away. He frowned and took the water, telling her to go back inside and lie down. He would cook. The woman looked at him. "We had good luck today. I ate half of it. I brought the rest back. Eat it quickly. You'll get better faster if you eat." The man didn't hesitate at all. He added a handful of rice to the pot. Squatting down to start the fire he said he had already eaten. The woman thought about her body. She handed the pancake over. "You eat it all. I've been lying down for a long time and just want something thin to drink." The man buried his head in filling the fire. "I told you to eat, so eat. How can you get better if you don't eat?" The man lowered his head. His eyes welled up with tears. "If I eat today, what will I eat tomorrow?" She didn't care about her body. That little bit of rice. He had begged several villagers to trade for it. She felt bad that he had worked all day without eating. He also felt bad that she had suffered with him in the countryside. He held her hand. "Don't think too much. Rest and recover. I'll go find medicine for you tomorrow. It will definitely be cured." Lin Qingxue watched, feeling uneasy. On the way back she asked you about the situation of those two people. You were silent for a moment, saying you didn't know the man well, but you had seen him on TV in your previous life. The old man had been a shrewd businessman for many years. After his death he donated all his assets. In the name of his beloved he established a public welfare foundation for medical treatment. His greatest regret in life was not being able to protect his beloved wife. He watched her suffer from illness and die with his own eyes. You guessed based on your memories. This illness should be what caused his wife's death. However, you estimated that Madame Ying's illness was mainly caused by malnutrition. In a cowshed with drafts everywhere, and only watery soup every day, even a small illness could turn into a serious one. You planned to have your wife this high school student, eat well and have money to invest in this future tycoon. At least you'd have a tutor before the college entrance examination resumed. The next morning, before dawn, you opened your eyes. You quietly got out of bed, walked to the small bed. Carefully and cautiously you picked up your daughter. Carefully picked up the daughter, gently placed beside his wife. Carefully covered her with a small quilt. After cooking breakfast for his wife, you closed the door from the outside, and set off on your way out. Today is market day. Although it was still early, there were already quite a few pedestrians on the road. In this era, if a rural family had a 2.8 big bar bicycle, their conditions would be considered quite good. So most people going out still had to rely on their own two legs. Relying on the memories of his past life, you immediately found a relatively large traditional Chinese medicine shop. The middle-aged man with a stern face took a look at what you brought out, and then sized you up. Then he picked up the dendrobium and examined it carefully. Looking at this dendrobium, it turned out to be a wild old dendrobium. Each stem was intact. He couldn't help but be a little surprised. He carefully placed the dendrobium on the counter, and tentatively asked what price you wanted to sell it for. When you heard him ask you to name your price, you didn't stand on ceremony, and directly stated a number. You knew in your heart that the other party would definitely bargain. When the pharmacy manager heard the price you quoted, he knew what was going on. He knew this person was not easy to fool. He glanced at your basket and invited you to the backyard. The two of them haggled in the backyard for nearly an hour. Finally you sold him 2 dendrobium stems, a polygonum multiflorum, and deer antler. You were quite satisfied with the price today. With 50 big unity bills, you left the pharmacy. After getting the money, you went to the state-run department store. You wanted to buy a washing machine. When you asked the salesperson, you were dumbfounded. You slapped your forehead. Although washing machines existed now, they were only used in hotels. Washing machines had not yet entered households. The first domestically produced washing machine was in 1978. It hadn't been produced yet. You unexpectedly got a ticket for a 9-inch black and white television. Without thinking you bought it. You also bought some oil coupons and grain coupons. The speculators saw a big customer arrive. They were exceptionally enthusiastic towards you. Hearing that you wanted to buy a TV that day, they helped you find an acquaintance with a tractor. For 2 yuan, they could transport the goods to your village. Without thinking you agreed. Then at the state-run department store you bought your wife a fashionable bright red sweater. You also bought some new clothes for the children and bought several new cotton quilts. You bought everything you could think of. Everything you could think of, you purchased. The tractor driver was dumbfounded. He couldn't believe that this young man in worn-out clothes was so rich. He bought so many things in one go. By the time you finished your big shopping spree, it was already afternoon. At home, Lin Qingshui woke up in the morning and saw the child was sleeping beside me. You left without me knowing when. Lin Qingshui dragged her heavy, sore body, got out of bed, saw that the person had already left early in the morning. The meals were all tidied up properly. On the table were golden yellow eggs and sizzling oily fried meat chunks. Lin Qingshui thought to herself that she wasn't moved at all. That would be lying. At noon, Wang Shenju led a lively young girl into the door. The fourth son's wife. This is a young educated youth from the city. Li Tianxian. She will live at your house from now on. Tell the fourth son, tidy up a room for her. Lin Qingshui was a bit stunned for a moment. Suddenly there was such a young girl in the house. These 3 small mud houses. How could they accommodate her? The couple lives in one. The main room is where they eat. Another room is piled with miscellaneous items. Where is there a place for her to live? He's not home. I can't make the decision. Wang Shenju smiled, his wrinkles piling up, waved his hand at Lin Qingshui, didn't listen to her at all, turned around and said a few words to the educated youth beside him, and left. If it weren't for your son sending his own flesh and blood, how could I send such a lively young girl to his house? This batch of educated youths, adding them up there are over 20 people. Most of them are young and strong lads. Just this one delicate young girl. He arranged her here. He and his wife live there. Sending a young girl is better than sending a young boy. After all, when doing things at night, a young girl is more convenient than a young boy. There's nothing to avoid, nor is there any worry about a young and beautiful wife being coveted. Li Tianxian, who was left behind, carrying her canvas shoulder bag, looked at the 3 dilapidated mud houses, felt worried in her heart. The days to come will likely be harder than for other educated youths who went to the countryside. The family Hong Mei was assigned to seemed to be living quite comfortably. It was a middle-aged couple, and they had 3 children. All of them were dressed brightly and beautifully. On the way here, heard them say, the family they were assigned to, the man was not a good person, gambling and drinking, and beating his wife. The family was so poor that it was clanging. They could barely afford to eat. Before coming, I thought what they said was a bit exaggerated, but now it seems what they said was not exaggerated at all. It's just that the mistress of this family, wearing old ill-fitting clothes, but she was so tender and beautiful. Her features were as exquisite as if she had walked out of a painting. Not like a rural person at all. Lin Qingshui noticed that gaze, was carefully examining her. She lowered her head and looked at herself. Her clothes were old and patched. Looking at the person in front of her again, she was wearing a fashionable dress, white socks paired with small leather shoes. Radiant and beautiful, she pretended not to notice the scrutinizing gaze and said, that room was messy, full of miscellaneous items. I'll have to wait for my husband to come back before I can make some space for you. After speaking, she turned and went into the house, carried out a thermos, poured a bowl of water for the guest. Li Tianxian nodded a little awkwardly and sat down on a bench in the yard. She was calculating in her heart. She had to find a way to quickly get the notice to work in the city. This broken place, she didn't want to stay another day, especially living in the home of a local hooligan. She had to be careful in the future. Don't let the hooligan of this family take advantage of her. Lin Qingshui had planned to just have a simple lunch. Now that a new educated youth had arrived, she had to roll up her sleeves and start preparing to cook. Li Tianxian thought she would be living here from now on. She couldn't eat for free and live for free, so she washed her hands and went into the kitchen to help. How about I cook? She said as she walked into the kitchen. But she was stunned. The old kitchen was tidied up neatly. There was a large piece of meat hanging from the beam. Who said this family was so poor they couldn't even afford to eat? They can still eat meat if they can't afford to eat. And such a large piece. Lin Qingshui was lowering her head and kneading dough. She looked up when she heard Li Tianxian's words and said, you don't need to help. If you have nothing to do, just help me watch the child in the yard. Li Tianxian heard this and nodded before leaving the kitchen. She came to the small bed and looked at the child lying on it, who was as fair as a porcelain doll. The child was lovely. She bent down and played with the child. She wondered in her heart. This hostess was about the same age as herself and was so fair and beautiful. Why did she get married so early? How could she fall for such a useless man? And a hooligan at that. Could it be that she was forced by that scoundrel? She had no choice but to marry him. Thinking of this, Li Tianxin felt a wave of worry. The more she thought about it, the more scared she became. She wondered if she should go to the village chief's house and ask the village chief to change her place, even if it was poorer, as long as the man of the house was a decent person. In the kitchen, Lin Qingshui was busy cooking. Little did she know that the educated youth outside was acting out such a dramatic scene in her heart. The steaming bowl of noodles was ready. Lin Qingshui carried the noodles out. "Comrade, have a bowl of noodles first." Li Tianxin came back to her senses, looking at the noodles with oily stars floating in the bowl on the table. She was stunned for a moment. She quickly said, "My name is Li Tianxin. Sister-in-law, you can call me Tianxin from now on." Lin Qingshui nodded, didn't say much more. Around 4 in the afternoon, the tractor rumbled into the village, following the road you pointed out. It stopped at your doorstep. Lin Qingshui, who was shelling corn in the yard, suddenly heard a noise outside. She quickly put down what she was doing. She stood up and walked to the door. Just happened to see you nimbly jump off the tractor. She was puzzled. Why did he come back in this noisy tractor? Before she could ask for details, the tractor driver shouted loudly, "So much stuff, can your house fit it all?" He walked around from the front of the vehicle to the back, moving the TV bit by bit to the side. Afraid of damaging it, you rushed forward and took the TV off the vehicle. Grinning at the tractor driver, you said, "There's plenty of space from now on." Du Danbrand, Lin Qingshui, standing nearby, was stunned by this scene. She asked blankly, "Did you buy all of this?" Her voice was full of disbelief. "So much stuff, and a TV, how much would that cost? How many coupons?" You saw your wife's fair and beautiful face. Her eyes were wide and staring. So you walked up and touched her cheek. You understood in your heart that she was worried about the money. But this little money, you didn't care about it at all. You just wanted your wife to enjoy life with you and never let her suffer again. You whispered in Lin Qingshui's ear, "I'll tell you more later. You stand aside first. I'll unload the stuff first." Lin Qingshui listened to you, moved aside like a puppet, watching the items being unloaded from the vehicle one by one, piled up like a small mountain. She regretted it in her heart. If she had known, she would have brought the child and gone to the city with you. How much money would this cost? Why is he so bad at managing money? Where did the money and coupons come from? For ordinary families, who can afford a TV? The electricity bill alone would be a lot of money. What a waste. At this time, Li Tianxin standing in the corner, holding the baby in her arms. Her eyes were fixed on the tall, broad-shouldered, long-legged young man. He was the dirt clod of the village. She originally thought you were ugly and vulgar. She never expected that you would be a person with deep features and a handsome appearance. In her life, she had rarely seen such a handsome man. Her heart pounded uncontrollably. Li Tianxin finally understood why such a beautiful woman like Lin Qingshui got married so early. So this man was even better looking than Wang Zhengang in the movies. The goods are unloaded. You took 2 yuan out of your pocket and handed it to the tractor driver. The driver took the money, waved his hand and drove the tractor away. You started moving things into the yard again. Your wife wanted to help, but you wouldn't let her. You told your wife to sit and rest. You didn't even notice that there was a strange woman in the house. Zhao Zhengxing heard the commotion and rushed over. When he saw so many things piled up at his brother's door, he was stunned. Where did this lazy guy get so much money to buy so many things? His family, which was so poor it jingled, had nothing to sell. Did he sell his child? Thinking of this, Zhao Zhengxing couldn't help but quicken his pace. He reached the door, and when he saw the little niece in the educated youth's arms, he finally felt relieved. Zhao Zhengxing didn't say a word of complaint, but silently helped move the items into the yard. Looking at the heavy iron lump, images and sounds came out. A swarm of ants fighting on it. It was so lively, like watching a movie. He curiously circled it a few times, too embarrassed to reach out and touch it. He heard that this thing was very valuable, costing several hundred yuan. This must be the television that city people often talk about. I never expected that my own brother would actually get one. The only one in the whole village. After the goods were put away properly, Zhao Zhengxing pulled you to the yard entrance and asked where you got so much money. You calmly patted your chest and said, "This is all money I earned selling game in the black market after hunting." You didn't tell your elder brother about the Dendrobium officinale. It wasn't that you didn't trust your elder brother, but that the Dendrobium officinale grew on sheer cliffs. Even if you told him, your elder brother couldn't help much. If the news leaked out, it would cut off your source of income. When spring comes and it gets warmer, it'll take you and second brother up the mountain to find some good picking spots, teach you the tricks, and then it will be up to your own fortune. Zhao Zhengxing wanted to persuade you to just farm properly, but looking at his own brother in front of him, whose eyes were shining, exuding a shrewdness and depth he had never seen before, as if he had become a different person, making him the elder brother feel a little unfamiliar. You thought that your elder brother rarely visited, so you told him about your plan to build a house, hoping he could help you watch over it, offering him 1 yuan a day for his work. Zhao Zhengxing took a drag of his cigarette and said, "If you're not messing around, I'll do it for free. Why would I need money? But building a house is no joke. It will cost a lot of money. I have the money, and I'll pay you for your work. Even brothers keep clear accounts. Please help me find a skilled master builder. Use better materials too. Strive to move into the new house before winter. Strive to move into the new house before winter." Zhao Zhengxing nodded. He thought the 4th brother just wanted to repair the 3 thatched huts. Who knew he had such great courage to build 2 stories? The reason you handed all these matters over to your elder brother, is precisely because you yourself are too busy to even scratch your head. You figured you had to get all the dendrobiums picked before winter. If you also encountered wild medicinal materials like Polygonum multiflorum, you could sell them for money. If you could also run into a Sika deer and get some velvet antler or deer penis, that would be a huge bargain. That would be a huge bargain. Seeing that it was still early, the brothers put their heads together and found Wang Shenju. In the era of planned economy, buying bricks to build a house also required a permit. Wang Shenju as the village head. In those years, his power was invincible. You gave him a pack of Dachinmin cigarettes and also slipped him $1 and smoothly obtained the permit to buy bricks. After getting the permit, he went straight to the commune's brick factory and placed an order for the bricks needed to build the house. Zhao Zhengxing was puzzled. How thick did the fourth brother plan to build the walls? Why did he order so many bricks? You told him you wanted to build 2 stories. Zhao Zhengxing, seeing you take out 2 Dalton's Tuanjie bills, without batting an eyelid, handed them to the brick factory owner. Zhao Zhengxing winced with heartache. Then he heard him say that the remaining money would be paid after all the bricks were delivered home. Zhao Zhengxing's eyes widened, thinking this was simply unbelievable. Those were Tuanjie bills, not toilet paper, just casually stuffed into a pocket, and he wasn't afraid of losing them. Zhao Zhengxing realized that his fourth brother, the degenerate gambler, now in front of outsiders, had such a grand demeanor. He looked more like a leader than the brick factory manager. Standing there, he exuded an imposing aura. If he wore a blue cloth jacket without patches, people would believe that he was the son of some leader. If it weren't for the mole on his neck and the scars on his hands from previous fights, Zhao Zhengxing would have suspected that his fourth brother had been secretly replaced. On the way home, Zhao Zhengxing felt like he was floating, dizzy. The fourth brother had become a man. But why did he always feel something was strange? As they neared home, you took out 5 Dalton's Tuanjie bills from your shirt pocket and handed them over. Apart from the wood, please help me arrange for the other materials. Zhao Zhengxing reached out to take them, then felt his hands were too dirty. He wiped them on the hem of his clothes. Before taking the money, he carefully tucked the money into the inner pocket of his clothes. Afraid of losing it by accident, Zhao Zhengxing said to you sincerely, "You can trust your elder brother. Your elder brother will definitely handle things beautifully for you. What's not to trust about my elder brother? If it weren't for my elder brother and sister-in-law calling me over, the grievances my wife suffered in the last life, my daughter might not have even been born, would have been ruined by myself." Zhao Family Hall. Lin Qingshui was tidying up the things you bought back. She took out a square scarf from the cabinet, carefully draped it over the TV, afraid of leaving any dust soiling the TV. "What are you buying this for? The village has power outages from time to time, and you still need to set up an antenna. When there's no signal, the screen is full of static." But seeing how excited you are, she couldn't complain about you spending money recklessly. She found that you bought more things for her and their daughter again. There are women's sweaters, pants and leather shoes, and a few sets of little clothes for the daughter. Why are you spending money recklessly again? Who buys new clothes every day? The coat you bought for her last time in town, she hasn't even worn it yet. She's reluctant to wear it. You actually bought her so many clothes again. But seeing that you remember the mother and daughter, Lin Qingshui was still very happy. She picked up the soft and thick cotton quilt, ready to put it in the box. Couldn't help but shed tears. This is even better than the new cotton quilt she got when she got married. Everything is tidied up. Lin Qingshui found that this person actually didn't buy anything for himself. But his shirt was also patched. His shoes even had a hole. Li Tianxian helped hold the daughter, staring eagerly at the new clothes, scratching her head and racking her brain, like a cat seeing fish. That V-neck sweater is the most fashionable style in the city. She wanted to buy it when she went shopping herself, but her parents absolutely disagreed. Spending half a month's salary on a sweater, looking at the clothes she wanted to buy, but couldn't afford to buy them appearing here. And not just one. Li Tianxian was so envious, jealous and hateful. Lin Qingshui's man. He's handsome and talented, and he's especially willing to spend money on his wife. When he was just moving things, he absolutely wouldn't let her lift a finger, afraid of tiring her out, cherished her like his own eyeballs. How could the village spread such a good man as a lazy bum? It's simply nonsense. You strode in from outside, and saw a strange young woman holding a child standing there, smiling at your wife. Is this your friend? Li Tianxian, after sensing your gaze, lowered her eyelids slightly, afraid to meet your eyes. Although she considered herself a city person, and looked down on these country bumpkins. But ever since this man drove back in a tractor, dusty and travel-worn, although she had been standing by the side the whole time, his eyes and heart were only on his little sister-in-law. A living person is standing here. He didn't even glance at herself from beginning to end. Lin Qingshui was busy with her work. Hearing your question, she finally realized there was an extra person at home. That female educated youth had been silent, and she was only focused on tidying up the things you bought back. She was completely forgotten. Lin Qingshui quickly apologized. She took the child from Li Tianxian's arms, said to you, "This is the educated youth from the countryside that the captain brought. She said she wanted to stay at our house temporarily. Why don't we tidy up the west room and let her live there?" Her words carried a hint of negotiation. Although you said she was in charge at home, she still didn't dare to make decisions on her own, fearing she would be blamed. As soon as you heard that a stranger was going to live at your house, your brows unconsciously furrowed slightly. You didn't want a stranger to disrupt. You're in your wife's peaceful life. But when you saw your wife's expectant eyes, the words of refusal on the tip of your tongue could not be spoken. Fearing she would think you had rejected her wishes, you didn't respond. You first pulled your wife into the inner room, took off your outer jacket, Then you took out the money from selling dendrobium from your hidden pocket and handed it to her. Then you took the child from Lin Qingshui's arms and played with him. You told her about your plan to build a new house. Lin Qingshui took the money from your hand. Looking at the brand new Great Unity bills in her hand, she found it hard to believe. After buying so many things, there was still so much money left. 2 dendrobium plants, a knot of Polygonum multiflorum, and that thing called Deer Antler were worth so much money. When you mentioned the idea of building a house, Lin Qingshui quickly put the money away. Under your eager gaze, she carefully hid the money securely. Then she fell into a brief silence. If they didn't build a house, with the money earned from these 2 times, it would be enough for their family of 3 to live a life of abundance for several years. A stable life. But if they really build a house, this money would likely not be enough. They would also incur a lot of debt. Her maternal family's younger brother had also helped her family quite a bit in the past 2 years. Now they also had children to support. How could she have the nerve to ask for money again? Lin Qingshui was thinking. You seem to have seen through her thoughts. Suddenly you kissed her fair and tender cheek. As for the money, you worry about it. You stay home and rest well. Don't get tired. The sudden soft and warm touch on her cheek made Lin Qingshui's face instantly turn crimson. She glared at you with alluring eyes and whispered a reminder. There are people outside. Aren't you ashamed? Your skin is as thick as a copper wall and an iron bastion. You just smiled at Lin Qingshui. In your previous life you were worth a lot of money. What kind of occasions had you not been to? Saying that, you leaned down again and gently bit Lin Qingshui's rosy and full lips, looking at your wife's fair and tender cheeks with a pinkish hue. Your heart melted. You're already a mother. Why are you still so shy? You stopped teasing her and returned to the main topic. Tomorrow my elder brother will order the materials. If he doesn't have enough money and asks you for it, don't forget to give it to him. Lin Qingshui nodded silently, but in her heart she felt a bit uneasy. She remembered what the neighbor had said about her elder brother and his second sister-in-law. Seeing her elder brother again, she couldn't help but feel uncomfortable. You have sharp eyes. You noticed your wife's expression was off. You leaned closer to her, asked, pressing your cheek against hers. Don't keep anything bothering you in your heart. Lin Qingshui thought for a moment, but still shook her head. She didn't say anything, seeing that his wife didn't want to talk. You didn't press further. Over there Li Tianxin stood in the main hall, and vaguely heard Lin Qingshui remind her that there were still people outside. Her face turned as red as a monkey's backside. She tiptoed, walking to the middle of the courtyard, breathing in the fresh air. As if possessed she stopped her steps to find the captain to switch accommodations. The man of this house, it seemed, was not as unbearable as the villagers outside claimed. When the younger sister-in-law was organizing things earlier, she stood there holding her child, and saw it all clearly. Most of those items were for household use, as well as clothes for the child and the younger sister-in-law. Yet she didn't see anything belonging to the man. While Li Tianxin stood in the courtyard lost in thought, your little daughter swaying in your arms had already fallen sweetly asleep. Her exquisitely carved little face held a serene expression. You gently turned, placing the sleeping little princess softly on the bed. You carefully pulled up the quilt. Then Lin Qingshui walked out from inside, saying to Li Tianxin, "You'll have to make do tonight, I am afraid. There are too many things piled up in the west room, and your elder brother might not be able to clear them all at once." When Li Tianxin heard Lin Qingshui's words, she turned her head, saw her flushed cheeks, and couldn't help but recall the conversation she had vaguely overheard from the couple's room. Earlier, her face felt a little hot, and she quickly avoided her gaze. "It's no trouble. Then it'll trouble you and big brother," Li Tianxin quickly said. Lin Qingshui smiled at Li Tianxin and shook her head, saying, "As long as you don't mind our poverty." Saying this she bent down, intending to move her daughter's small wooden bed to her own east room. "Quick, come help, wife. Be careful not to strain your back." Lin Qingshui smiled, turned and went to the west room, also wanting to help clear things out. "You working with your shirt off?" were repeatedly asked by your wife. To put on a white undershirt. Your well-defined arm muscles were exposed, exuding a sense of strength. The undershirt covered the uneven scratches on your broad back. You had no idea why your wife asked you to wear an undershirt, and started moving several bamboo rakes, planning to move them to the courtyard. After only a couple of moves, you saw your wife coming in with her sleeves rolled up. You quickly spoke to stop her. "Wife, you don't need to help here. It's too dusty. Go wait in the courtyard," you said. Seeing that Lin Qingshui wasn't listening to your advice, you became anxious. Put down the fence in your hand and push the person out. You felt so heartbroken. There's so much dust here. How can you let her come in to help? If it weren't for the fact that we're building a house next, and there would be a group of men coming and going in the house, you wouldn't have let this educated youth stay at home. But speaking of which, keeping Li Tianxin has its advantages. When you go up the mountain to hunt and gather dendrobium, she can keep your wife company and relieve her boredom. Li Tianxin saw you push Lin Qingshui out, and couldn't help but cover her mouth and tease. "Big brother really dotes on you." Hearing Li Tianxin's words, Lin Qingshui's face turned red, and she smiled shyly, not responding. "This person has really changed. As long as he's home, he won't let me do any chores. Even the hot water for washing at night, he boils it and brings it into the room for me. These days, I've truly felt cherished and cared for. It's too good, to the point where it feels a bit unreal, and even a little unsettling." Lin Qingshui is afraid that you'll get tired of this novelty, and go back to your old ways. "So every day my heart is in my throat, living with constant worry. Her mind is in a state of high tension every day, greedily hoping that these good days can last a little longer. So, she speaks and acts with extreme caution, afraid of displeasing you. During meals, seeing him hand me a white flour bun, while he gnaws on a coarse grain bun. He's the one who dislikes coarse grain buns. And he's the one who asked me to make white flour buns. But after making them, he doesn't eat a single one, leaving them all for me. Actually, I can eat anything, as long as he can live a peaceful life, and stop messing around outside. I'll be content. Lin Qingshui still doesn't understand. Why have you suddenly become so good? Before you weren't always sober and didn't do bad things. After sobering up, you'd apologize to me. And when you knelt on the ground and swore, every time you had a drunken fit, you would indeed restrain yourself a bit, but that would only last for 2 or 3 days. And then you'd go back to your old self, and continue to mess around. I've never seen you like these past few days. Cooking and boiling water, and coaxing the children, even buying clothes and shoes for the children. Lin Qingshui knows in her heart, constantly reminding herself to stay clear-headed, not to fall headfirst into this sweet vortex. If one day the dream ends, and reality is different from now, what will happen then? But you don't know your wife's inner turmoil. As dusk approaches, you finally finish tidying up the west room. That room was a mud-tiled house, filled with Za Wu and uninhabited. The newspapers on the wall were so rotten they looked like spiderwebs. Crumbling at the touch, although it had been cleaned, there was still a lot of dust inside. You nimbly used wooden boards to build a small bed, thus completing the task assigned by your wife. Lin Qingshui saw you walk out with a sweaty head. She quickly picked up a towel and handed it to you. Wipe yourself quickly, dinner will be ready soon. You didn't reach out to take it. Your slender and tall body, slightly bent down, brought your enlarged, strong and handsome face close to your wife's face. Breathing hot air, you said, "Wife, will you wipe me?" Hearing your words, Lin Qingshui subconsciously glanced at Li Tianxian, who was carrying something into the house. After she went in, she raised her hand and wiped the sweat from your forehead, and didn't forget to remind you, there are outsiders at home. When you get up in the morning to go to the toilet, don't go out shirtless anymore. Wear some shorts, so as not to make the young girl shy if she sees you. Your dark, bright and piercing eyes stared at your wife, who was close at hand, seeing how carefully she was wiping, and reminding you of these trivial matters. Your heart felt warm, although you felt a bit awkward not being able to go shirtless at home. But seeing your wife's serious expression, you raised the corner of your lips, and lightly kissed Lin Qingshui's rosy lips like a dragonfly touching water. You readily agreed. "I'll listen to you." Lin Qingshui's face turned red and her ears burned from your sudden intimate gesture. It would be fine if it were just the two of you at home. But now there's an unmarried young girl at home. It's really shameless. Lin Qingshui's face flushed red. She said to you, "Go wash your hands and eat," and turned to go into the kitchen. You watched your wife flee in a hurry, and grinned. Your handsome face was filled with a satisfied smile. You walked to the well, and drew a bucket of cold water. You splashed water on your face. You were sweating. Your body was sticky, and very uncomfortable. You looked around. You were the only one in the yard. You took off your undershirt, and poured the cold water from the bucket over your head. It was extremely cool. Li Tianxian happened to come out of the house, and saw this scene, looking at the man with bare arms, his back to her, revealing a strong physique, well-proportioned muscles, clear lines, and a few scratches on them. Li Tianxian's cheeks turned hot as she watched, and she shyly turned and went back into the house. This adobe house is not soundproof. It's dark and dusty everywhere. Li Tianxian couldn't stand living here for another day. Lin Qingshui heard the splashing sound of water, and came out with the dishes. She immediately saw you shirtless. Your body was wet, as if you had just been fished out of the water. A fire immediately ignited in her heart. She put the dishes on the stone table in the yard, and went forward to grab your arm, and pull you inside. As she pulled, she complained, "In such cold weather, what if you get sick?" You let your wife pull you into the house. Listening to her complaining words, your heart felt warm. You knew she was genuinely worried about you. Entering the inner room, Lin Qingshui picked up a small blanket for a child. Standing on tiptoe, she carefully wiped the water from your head. She was so focused that she didn't even blink. She also chided you, completely unaware that you were staring at her with a foolish grin. Hearing his wife's words, you quickly spread your legs, and obediently lowered your head, to let your wife wipe you. "Change into new clothes tomorrow, okay? I want to see." As soon as you said that, Lin Qingshui's hand paused slightly. She didn't make a sound. Seeing that his hair was almost dry, she went behind him, and meticulously wiped the water stains on his back. Looking at the marks on his back, her face flushed slightly. She clearly hadn't been like this before. Thinking of this, Lin Qingshui's heart began to race. She threw the small blanket into your arms and said, "You can dry yourself from here. After you're dry, change your pants and come out for dinner." Lin Qingshui lifted the cloth curtain and came out, just as she bumped into Li Tianxian coming out of the west room. The two looked at each other and smiled, a tacit understanding passing between them without a word. 3 mud brick houses, a small area. The words spoken in the east room were heard clearly by the west room. Li Tianxian didn't know whether to sit or stand. Felt uncomfortable all over. If it were night, wouldn't she be like a roast on a fire? You changed into a pair of pants, put on a gray shirt, and walked out with big strides. You sat on the stone stool next to your wife, glanced at the stone table. The scrambled eggs from the morning were barely touched. Not a single piece of the 8 pieces of meat was missing. You frowned and looked at your wife. You didn't eat breakfast this morning. Lin Qingshui had just picked up her chopsticks, when she looked up and saw you with a dark face and a frown. Her heart skipped a beat. Her hand trembled and the chopsticks clattered to the floor. She was instantly defeated, so quickly revealed her true colors? She thought he could last a little longer this time. The dream ended so quickly. She put down the other chopstick, avoiding your gaze, took a deep breath, ate half a steamed bun, with 2 pieces of egg. Her voice was calm, but her hands were tightly gripping her worn outer garment, her whole body trembling. The sound of chopsticks falling to the floor made you snap back to reality. You sensed something was wrong. Upon closer inspection, Lin Qingshui's eyes were red, damp, like apricots beaten by rain. You immediately panicked. You only felt sorry for her and didn't want her to eat less. But you didn't expect your tone to be too harsh. Scaring her, you reached out to hug her, but she dodged. You panicked even more. A man over 1.8 meters tall crouched in front of his wife, his face full of panic. Wife, I was just a little anxious earlier. I really didn't mean to be harsh with you. Your tone softened. Lin Qingshui couldn't hold back her grievances. Tears fell with a plop. She was really scared earlier. She thought you had turned back into that short-tempered demon who would hit people. You felt heartbroken. You picked her up by the waist and quickly entered the east room. Li Tianxian had just sat down on the stone stool, her face blank. What just happened? She was the only one left in the yard. You looked at the person in your arms with heartache. Her eyes were red from crying. Her delicate nose was flushed. Your heart felt like it was being twisted with a knife. You lowered your head and whispered to her eyelids. Wife, I am sorry. I was really wrong. I was just afraid you wouldn't eat enough, and got anxious and spoke harshly to you. I am busy outside all day, and can't always watch you eat. When I get anxious, my tone gets heavy. Lin Qingshui gradually felt a little better. She also felt she had gone a bit too far earlier. She had been pampered and protected by him recently, and had become spoiled. Now that they had talked things through, she felt even more embarrassed. Her fair fingers tightly clutched the shirt on his chest. Her eyelids drooped slightly. She bit her lower lip, and said nothing. At this moment you unexpectedly said, "What's wrong with you?" Following the direction of his finger, Lin Qingshui finally noticed that she seemed to have leaked milk. Before she could reply, you thought of the Crucian carp tofu soup and venison you had been making recently and asked, "Is our daughter getting enough to eat lately?" Lin Qingshui's fair and tender face instantly turned red, like a ripe persimmon. She broke free from your embrace. "You get out first," her voice trembling slightly. She had been drinking Crucian carp soup every day for the past few days. She didn't know if it was really effective. The baby had been drinking breast milk for the past 2 days, and hadn't drunk formula, but even so, she still had a lot of milk. Her breasts were sore from being engorged during the day. Last night this shameless man had also eaten some of it. It wasn't as uncomfortable during the day today, but she still leaked milk. Her face flushed red. She lowered her head and unbuttoned her clothes. She didn't notice at all that you were staring intently at her actions, looking at her with eager anticipation. Lin Qingshui had just taken off her outer garment, only to find this shameless man staring at her. She was instantly ashamed and angry. "What are you doing? Get out quickly. I need to change." You had no intention of leaving at all. The head instead leaned closer. "The child is asleep. You're making yourself uncomfortable by growing like this." Gave Lin Qingshui no chance to react. Li Tianxian sat on a stone bench outside, resting her chin on one hand. It's already dark. The stars and moon have come out. That couple still hasn't come out. She didn't dare to go in and look. Could only wait. After a long time, the two came out of the house. Li Tianxian saw that her sister-in-law's eyes were moist. Her cheeks were flushed red. Her lips were vividly red. She must have been appeased. Lin Qingshui saw Li Tianxian staring at her, thinking about what just happened. Her face was burning hot. She picked up chopsticks and handed them to Li Tianxian. "Let's eat." She handed another pair of chopsticks to the man beside her. "After you sat down, you didn't spare Li Tianxian a glance the whole time. You put a fine flour steamed bun into your wife's hand, and took a coarse grain steamed bun for yourself, taking big bites." Qin Li was thinking about finding time to go to the reservoir to get some Crucian carp to nourish his wife. Lin Qingshui had no idea what the man was thinking. She was worried that Li Tianxian would feel uncomfortable. She handed over a fine flour steamed bun. "Treat this place like your own home." Li Tianxian took a small bite. She muttered to herself, "Is this family poor or rich? If you say it's poor, they eat fine flour steamed buns. The dishes are scrambled eggs and meat. These conditions are not inferior to those in the city." In the morning they ate black wo too with pickled radishes at the captain's house. They lived in 3 mud brick rooms, except for the TV bought today. There wasn't even a decent piece of furniture. The bed she slept on was just a few planks put together casually. When she made the bed she was afraid the bed would collapse if she turned over at night. During the day she heard him telling the tractor driver that they were going to build a house. So wouldn't this old house be demolished? Then they wouldn't even have a place to live. Then why did he still keep her? It could be seen. This elder brother's eyes could not tolerate anyone except his sister-in-law. He clearly didn't like her living here. While she was lost in thought, a child's cry came from the room. The next second, you got up, telling Lin Qingshui to continue eating, and strode into the room, carrying out the daughter who had woken up on the small bed. Lin Qingshui put down her chopsticks and reached out to take her. "You eat first, eat later." Lin Qingshui naturally knew that he wanted her to eat first, so he said he wasn't hungry. She came back from outside and was busy cleaning up miscellaneous items. How could she not be hungry? But she didn't expose him. She picked up her chopsticks and continued to eat. Li Tianxian lowered her eyes and took small bites of the steamed bun. Her peripheral vision secretly observed the interaction between the couple, unconsciously comparing it to her own family. Her 2 brothers rarely touched the children when they came back from work. It was always the sisters-in-law who comforted the crying children first, holding the child with one hand and eating with difficulty with the other. But this elder brother in front of her was walking back and forth in the yard coaxing the child. She found it incredible. Lin Qingshui quickly finished her meal. She took the child from the monk's arms and returned to the room. As soon as she left, Li Tianxian secretly glanced at the young man opposite her. She saw him devouring steamed buns, eating them with eggs. His handsome face showed no expression, exuding indifference and distance. This was a completely different demeanor from when his little sister-in-law was around. Li Tianxian felt a bit uneasy watching him. Restless, she stammered. She tidied up the bowls and chopsticks and took them into the kitchen. After washing them quickly, she returned to the west room. She didn't dare to come out again. It was completely dark outside. You sat alone in the yard, eating the remaining 4 coarse grain steamed buns. Only after drinking the noodle soup did you feel full. Then you boiled a pot of hot water, carrying the basin of water back to the room. You remembered to wipe yourself down. I am going to the toilet. You placed the basin on the stand. Lin Qingshui closed the door. She took off her clothes and bathed with hot water. As soon as she finished bathing and got dressed, she vaguely heard a noise from behind the house. She thought she had misheard. The next second, a man's voice came from outside. Are you taking a bath? Lin Qingshui's hair stood on end. She screamed loudly. You outside the house had just pulled up your waistband. Hearing the scream, you quickly came out. You caught the person who rushed into your arms. Hugging her tightly, you lowered your eyes and asked. Lin Qingshui hugged his waist tightly with both arms. Her body trembled. There was someone behind the house just now. You raised your dark eyes and looked outside the courtyard wall. Indeed, you saw a head running away in a hurry. In an instant, your deep eyes were filled with chilling anger. You withdrew your gaze, looking at the person in your arms wearing only her underclothes. You picked her up by the waist and placed her on the bed. You came out of the bedroom. You instructed Li Tianxian, who was standing at the door of the west room. Watch her for me. I am going out for a bit. You didn't say anything more. You strode out of the courtyard with long legs. Your tall and slender figure disappeared into the night. At Lazy's house at the east end of the village, the neighbors next door heard Lazy's miserable cries, and the dull thuds of fists hitting flesh. Their hearts trembled. They all knew you were a reckless person, a ruthless person at heart. They didn't know how Lazy had provoked you. Listening to the commotion, you had been ruthless. They were truly afraid you would beat him to death. Fourth brother, I was wrong. I was going to see the educated youth Li Tianxian, but I really didn't see anything. Hearing Lazy beg for mercy, you directly dislocated his jaw. What nonsense are you talking about? Weren't you craving meat? Going to eat meat? Fourth brother, Lazy didn't even have the strength to get up and kneel. He was truly afraid you would beat him to death. For a moment, you really wanted to cripple him. But thinking of Lin Qingshui and your daughter, you didn't strike as hard. Lin Qingshui lay on the bed. After an unknown amount of time, she heard the sound of water splashing in the yard. Knew you were back, taking a cold shower. After more than 10 minutes, heard the sound of doors opening and closing. You thought she was asleep. Stepped into the room quietly, just about to get into bed in the dark. A voice came from the bed. You're back. Lin Qingshui reached out and turned on the light. The room lit up. You stopped moving. Saw the person on the bed propping their head up with one hand. Jet black hair spread over her shoulders and neck. Your gaze deepened. Stepped onto the bed, raised your hand and turned off the light. In the darkness, you put your arm around her waist, which had no excess fat. Patting her back. It's okay now, wife. She didn't dare to sleep before you came back. Afraid you'd be too rough and kill someone. And afraid of village gossip. She was terrified, curled up in your arms like a kitten. Her cheek pressed against his firm hot chest, listening to his strong heartbeat. Slowly stopped sobbing. She didn't dare to cry loudly, afraid of waking her daughter. Looking at his wife like this, you only felt you hadn't hit her hard enough. Originally thought with your bad reputation, the village hooligans wouldn't dare. Didn't expect anyone else would dare to have wicked thoughts. But after today, those who had wicked thoughts should quiet down. Looking at the man's tired face, thinking about how had been going out early and coming back late to dig and sell dendrobium during. This time, giving the money to herself, to protect herself. He had truly changed. In the darkness, Lin Qingshui cried herself tired, fell asleep in a daze. You listened to the even breathing beside you, and finally breathed a sigh of relief. Lin Qingshui was woken up by voices outside the house in her sleep. Sister-in-law Zhao added a large handful of white sugar to the boiled water, and poured water for everyone who was working. Sugar was a rare commodity in those days. No one would normally be willing to buy it. Cao Fengjia drank a bowl of sugar water, and leaned close to sister-in-law Zhao, asking in a low voice. Yesterday I thought I heard your sister-in-law at home. Sister-in-law Zhao put down the kettle, looking at the gossipy Cao Fengjia. Your house is 2 miles from Xiao Sis' house. You could hear it. You have nothing to do at night, so you squatted under the young couple's window to eavesdrop. Cao Fengjia smiled and didn't reply, thinking about how last night she heard you beat Lazy from the east end half to death. Coincidentally, your city wife was restless. She guessed that this wife must have been cheating on you behind your back. She couldn't help but want to spread the word. Sister-in-law Zhao couldn't be bothered with her, carried the kettle to pour water for others, came to your side, gave you a look, said in a low voice, go check on Qingshui. At this time of day she would have woken up long ago. Don't let her get sick from being scared. You who were moving bricks, stop your work. She was indeed still asleep when you got up this morning. It's already 10 o'clock. You lifted the curtain and entered the bedroom. You lifted the curtain and entered the bedroom. As you opened the door and came in, Lin Qingshui had already woken up. You instinctively pulled her into your arms. You said to the person in your arms with your face turned sideways, if you're awake, change your clothes first. I'll bring the food in for you to eat. Your voice was a little hoarse. The curtains were still drawn. It was very noisy outside. Lin Qingshui couldn't help but ask, "What's going on in the yard?" You replied with a smile, "We're renovating the courtyard wall. It's a mess. Wife, don't come out yet. I still have things to do outside." "Then why aren't you letting me go?" Not only did you not let go, you held her tighter instead. You said to her, "Kiss me. There are people everywhere outside. How am I being difficult? You are my wife. You're unwilling to kiss me when I ask you to. Don't you like me anymore?" Your tone was a mix of wrong and fierce. Lin Qingshui wanted to explain, but in the end she said nothing. She leaned forward and lightly pecked his cheek. "There, now let me go." You who had been kissed by her, your beautiful eyes flashed with brightness. You happily cupped her small face and kissed her. "I am bored staying in the room. I want to go out and help." Without thinking, you refused outright. "If you're bored, I'll have my sister-in-law come in to chat with you later." Lin Qingshui knew that helping was out of the question. Seeing you step out the door, she returned to the bedroom bored and went to play with her daughter. Because many people were helping, the courtyard wall was finished by 4 p.m. that afternoon. The 2-meter-high courtyard wall was covered with broken glass shards. It would be difficult for an ordinary person to climb a 2-meter-high wall without a ladder, let alone a wall covered with broken glass shards. Building the courtyard wall before the house was built, this was also a first. Behind your house, Cao Fengjie chuckled. "Last night I went out to the toilet. I saw Lazy sneak out of Lin Qingshui's room. I suspect the two of them have already done it." Zhang Hongxia exclaimed. "If that's true, Lin Qingshui is too shameless." She and her sister-in-law whispered and winked at each other. Their eyes showed a look of flirtatiousness as they looked at Lin Qingshui. This scene was seen by you who had been watching them, and every word they said was heard by you. These two women really deserve a beating. These two daughters-in-law of my uncle are actually this kind of people. They said they came to help. They clearly came to freeload. Did you see? Cao Fengjie even brought a tea mug. Her pockets were also bulging. It seems she didn't pack much of the snacks for the helpers. You pondered how to deal with Cao Fengjie and Zhang Hongxia. You had to deal with them once and for all. To avoid trouble, after dinner, you strolled over to your uncle Wang Dashan's house. After dinner, you swayed and went to your uncle Wang Dashan's house. Wang Dashan and his 2 sons had not separated. They all lived together. When you went over, the Wang family was eating. Seeing you arrive, everyone was quite surprised. "Have you eaten?" Uncle Wang Dashan asked. Miaozi Lu Shukin shoveled a mouthful of rice into her mouth. Seeing you walking towards her, she didn't think much of it. She walked step by step to Cao Fengqi's side. You grabbed her hair. Your action stunned everyone present. Accompanied by Cao Fengqi's scream, everyone finally reacted. Wang He stood up abruptly. "Zhen Guo, what are you crazy about?" You sneered coldly. "What am I crazy about? Ask your wife." Cao Fengjie never expected that the news would reach your ears so quickly. He came so quickly. You began to scold Cao Fengjie for her faults. Lu Shukin and Wang Dashan's faces turned black after listening. The one they married was not a daughter-in-law, but a jinx. Normally they were afraid their son would learn bad things from this Zhen Guo. They repeatedly warned him to keep his distance. This woman dared to instigate and slander them. Cao Fengjie secretly cursed you for being useless, but she didn't know how to explain herself. Zhang Hongxia stood up. "Is there some misunderstanding here?" Zhen Guo let go first. "Cao Fengjie is your cousin-in-law. You are birds of a feather. You are not a good thing either." Zhang Hongxia was a bit embarrassed. She looked at her husband. Wang Yang remained silent, clearly not wanting to get involved in this mess. You raised your hand and slapped Cao Fengjie across the face. "I'll shut your damn mouth. I'll beat your mouth until it's broken." Cao Fengjie was stunned by the slap. She never expected that he would dare to. No one in the Wang family, young or old, stopped you. You slapped Cao Fengjie 6 times before stopping. You let go of her. Cao Fengqi's eyes were spinning. She couldn't even stand steadily. She stumbled and fell onto Wang He. She was harshly pushed away by her husband. Wang Dashan said slowly, "You are asking for a beating." Lu Shukin glared at Cao Fengjie, feeling extremely disgusted. "Cao Fengjie, are you brainless? Or can't you stand seeing Zhen Guo and his wife happy? How dare you say such things? You are clearly trying to sow discord." No one felt sorry for her even when she was beaten. "I didn't say those things." Besides denying it, Cao Fengjie had no way out. "You didn't say those things? Do you dare to swear? If you lie, your whole family will die. May your parents die a horrible death." How could she be a match for the cunning you? Your words shut Cao Fengqi's mouth. She felt guilty. She stammered and couldn't speak. What exactly happened? Everyone understood clearly. You looked at everyone. "I am putting my words here today. If I hear anyone gossiping in the village, sowing discord between my wife and I, don't blame me for being merciless. I won't be responsible if you're beaten to death or crippled." The words fell. You kicked Cao Fengjie hard twice more. Wang He looked and stepped forward, and started punching and kicking his wife again. Cao Fengqi's face was swollen. Beaten by Wang He, she repeatedly begged for mercy. Still no one dared to step forward to break up the fight. You haven't left. Clearly you're still angry. Whoever breaks up the fight will be unlucky. After a while, Lu Shukin sighed. "That's enough. If you injure her, you'll have to pay for medical treatment." Wang He raised his hand and slapped Cao Fengqi's face. This blow made her mouth bleed. You snorted. "I told you to stop being so foul-mouthed. And stop being so cheap. Next time I'll sew your mouth shut." With these words, you turned and left. Inside, besides Cao Fengqi's crying, there was no other sound. You dealt with Cao Fengjie. Feeling refreshed, happily went home to find his wife. Seeing him leave, Wang Dashan gave Lu Shukin a look, telling her to take her 2 daughters-in-law to the kitchen to clean up. In the center of the main hall, Wang Dashan, who was smoking silently, tapped the table with his pipe. Keep your wives in check. If there's any gossip in the village about Xiao Sis family, I won't be able to protect you either. We can't afford to offend them. Recently I heard he's improved, but I see, he's become even more unruly. Wang He and Wang Yang, the two brothers, lowered their heads, afraid to make a sound. A creak, the old wooden door was pushed open. Cao Fengjia quickly closed her eyes. She hadn't even figured out what she was going to do. It's been a few months since we got married, and my stomach is still empty. Her father-in-law, mother-in-law and husband just now watched her get beaten without intervening. What kind of people are these? Wang He came in without saying a word, sat on the edge of the Kong and pondered. His mind was in turmoil, very unsettled. This cousin of his is not simple. Father's intention is not to provoke him, but his wife is quite beautiful. He couldn't bear to let her go completely and send her back to her parents' home. He was also reluctant. Their eyes met. Neither spoke. After a while, Cao Fengjia got up. I was wrong. Wang Yi was a little surprised. He never expected her to admit her mistake. Seeing that he wasn't speaking, "I'll be well behaved from now on and live with you. I promise I won't leave the house." Wang Yi stared at her for a few moments, turned and left. Cao Fengjia looked at his back, biting her lip a little flustered. Maybe I should take the initiative. Today's beating absolutely cannot be in vain. The next morning, Lin Qingshui divided the proofed dough into 5 small portions, put them in the pot and fried them until golden brown on both sides. Just as she was about to pinch off a small piece to taste, she was startled by the embrace from behind. "You are very tall. You have to bend over to hold her in your arms." Resting your chin in the hollow of her neck, Lin Qingshui flinched. She relaxed when she smelled the familiar scent. She turned her head groggily and found him staring at the food in her hand. She smiled faintly and fed him a piece of the pancake. "How does it taste?" "Your smile is sincere and natural. You don't have to get up so early to cook for me." You coax the child to sleep a little longer. "You're going hunting. It's cold in the mountains. It's good to eat something hot in the morning. A few days ago I saw you just taking some dry food and going out in the morning." Lin Qingshui naturally wanted to do something for you. "I am leaving. After you've had breakfast, put on your boots, pick up the carrying basket, and walk towards the mountain." After walking for about 2 hours, she successfully found the dendrobium, took out her tools and got to work. By noon, all the dendrobium had been harvested. Seeing that there was still time, you didn't go down the mountain immediately. You looked around for deadwood to try your luck. Indeed, you found a big haul. You walked over with big strides. "It's mushrooms." "No, where are there such bright red dried mushrooms?" "These are 4 lingzi mushrooms of different shapes and sizes. This trip to the mountain was worth it today. Why didn't I notice before? This deep mountain is full of treasures." Put down the carrying basket, broke off some grass with leaves and spread it out. Use the sharp blade to cut off the lingzi and put it in. And then spread a thick layer of grass on top. Just as you were about to leave, the corner of your eye caught an inconspicuous small hole next to an oak tree. Around the entrance of the hole were scattered fine soil and footprints. These were the traces left behind. "This seems to be a hole. The stuffed meat is delicious. It can nourish my wife." The stuffed oil is a precious medicinal material. However, the stuffed animal is agile and cunning. It's not easy to catch it directly. You decide to try your luck with the smoke method. You search your space and find a small handful of dried chili peppers. You carefully stuff the dried chili peppers and dry firewood into the hole. The firelight flickered, and thick smoke billowed up, carrying a pungent odor that spread into the hole. You step back and wait patiently. The animal will feel the strange smell of the smoke, and will instinctively look for an exit to escape. And you have already set up a net at the entrance of the hole, just waiting for it to walk into the trap. You are taking a gamble. The animal is good at digging. The cave is ingeniously designed, and often has multiple exits. He remembered that he saw on Animal World. Some burrows even have over 130 exits. Time ticked by second by second. The forest was silent. Occasionally bird songs could be heard. You stared intently at the burrow entrance. Your palms were slightly sweaty. After waiting for about half an hour with no movement, you were about to give up, preparing to extinguish the fire with wet branches. There was movement at the burrow entrance. A furry head poked out. Its eyes flickered with terror in the smoke. Its entire body emerged from the burrow, panicked and rushing towards the net. You reacted swiftly, quickly pulling the net rope, securely trapping it in the net. This one looked to be around 20 pounds. With a 1 in 6 chance of finding a burrow, catching one like this, you were very satisfied. After retrieving water from your spatial storage to ensure the fire was completely extinguished, you turned and headed down the mountain. Meanwhile, back home, some villagers, having heard you bought a TV, curiously came to visit, wanting to see what the city people's TV looked like. By the end of the day, your home was bustling with activity. People came and went in waves. During this time, some villagers saw Zhao Jiangxing arranging for a pile of building materials to be delivered. Upon learning you were going to build a house, they all showed surprised expressions. There were all sorts of comments, with most believing you wouldn't be able to build the house, thinking you didn't have that much money. They even secretly gossiped behind your back, saying you didn't know how to manage your finances, spending so much money on a useless metal box. It was a waste of money and electricity. Lin Qingshui was already exhausted just dealing with the villagers who came to watch TV. She felt her home was more lively today than it was on her wedding day. Just as she was about to sit down and rest, she saw you returning with a loaded basket. Her eyes immediately lit up. She hugged the child and went to meet you. "Why are you back so early today?" As she spoke, she noticed grass leaves stuffed in your bamboo basket. This time, just by looking at the grass in his basket, she guessed there was something inside. She was somewhat puzzled, wondering how his luck could be so good. Things like wild stone mushrooms are rare finds. Yet he managed to bring them back every time he went up the mountain. Lin Qingxue wore a brand new red sweater, which made her skin appear even more delicate and fair. For a moment he was dazzled. When she reached him, you bent down intending to kiss her cheek, but she dodged, her face flushed red. Lin Qingxue thought you were so unrestrained, always trying to kiss her in broad daylight. Your elder sister-in-law is here too. Only then did you notice a few villagers inside. You looked at your wife with confusion. Lin Qingxue, seeing your question, explained. The villagers all wanted to see what a TV looks like. Fortunately, my elder sister-in-law came over to help entertain them. You nodded, wanting to take the child from her arms. Looking down, you saw your clothes were a bit dirty, so you carried the basket into the kitchen. Turning to your wife, who followed you in, you leaned down and whispered a few instructions in her ear. Lin Qingxue glanced at the basket, nodded and acknowledged, although she didn't know how much she had brought back. Didn't expect to go to the city early tomorrow morning, but didn't ask much more. There are still so many outsiders at home. He actually dared to get so close. This guy who is so close. There have been too many changes recently. Noticed his wife secretly looking at him. Your smile stretched from ear to ear. Kissed each of his wife's palm-sized cheeks with a smack. Did you eat well today? As he spoke, his hands were also restless, rubbing her waist. How can it be so thin? Probably not even a foot and 6 inches. Wife, I am not home to supervise you. You must eat well too. Too thin. You're holding my waist. Lin Qingxue, holding the child, glared at you strangely. Just as she was about to say he was messing around inappropriately, she heard her eldest sister-in-law calling from outside. Since the fourth one is back. Ching ching. Then he'll be going back. Old Zhao will be back from the fields soon, she said and walked outside. Lin Qingxue quickly called out to her eldest sister-in-law. Sister-in-law, wait a moment. Handing your daughter over to you. She left the kitchen and entered the east room, carrying a bag of rock sugar, and put it into her sister-in-law's hand. She was afraid that you would tell her not to send it during this time. Rock sugar is a rare item. She was reluctant to eat it, but if it weren't for her sister-in-law's help, the days for the mother and daughter would have been even harder. Sister-in-law heard today that many villagers came to watch the excitement. She didn't even spin flowers anymore. If it weren't for her sister-in-law coming, how could she have managed so many people by herself? In the past, the family always took advantage of her sister-in-law. Now that they are better off, she also wants to repay her sister-in-law. Even if they are sisters-in-law, you can't always take advantage of others. This was bought by Zheng'o. Take it back for the children to eat. The sister-in-law was stunned, looking at the small half-jin of rock sugar in her hand. Quickly pushed the things back. You keep it for Nian to eat. Sugar water is for entertaining distinguished guests. What ordinary family can afford this? If any new bride brings this when she returns home, her family will be very proud. The two of them snatched it back and forth for several rounds. Seeing that the bag was about to break, the sister-in-law reluctantly accepted the rock sugar and turned to go home. Lin Qingxue was afraid that she had acted without authorization, and you would blame her. She rubbed the corner of her clothes and explained stutteringly. Thanks to our sister-in-law for helping. There were too many people at that time. I was so busy that I was dizzy. I almost forgot to eat. I gave the rock sugar to my sister-in-law. Don't be angry, and definitely don't act foolishly, and try to get it back. Looking at his wife's timid appearance, you felt a hand on your heart. Your heart was breaking. His wife still didn't trust him, always afraid that a wrong word would be said. If he hit or scolded her again, he really brought it upon himself. Lin Qingxue became even more frightened, head down, mumbling as if having done something wrong. He'll never dare to do that again. Don't be angry. You put your arm around your daughter, and with your other arm you pulled your wife into your embrace. Some things you need to explain clearly to your wife. Misunderstandings should never be left overnight, otherwise they will only accumulate. Living as a couple, the worst thing is not talking properly. Without communication, it's all over. You patted your wife's back, rubbed your chin on her hair, and said in a very gentle tone, Wife, I've told you you're in charge at home. You manage the money, do whatever you want, it's up to you. It's just a pack of candy. If you want it, we can buy more tomorrow. You don't need to care so much about my attitude. For any of your decisions, I will unconditionally support you. At first, Lin Qingxue thought you were just being sulky with her, but you said it again and again, not like you were faking it. Only then did Lin Qingxue dare to believe you. Heaven knows she didn't dare to breathe just now, afraid you would change your mind. Seeing his wife's breathing gradually stabilize, you finally felt relieved. It seems I'll have to have heart-to-heart talks with my wife every night from now on. I want to take my wife to the city to relax, but I know my wife definitely won't agree. She's afraid that if we go to the city, you'll sell our daughter the moment we turn around. But you think it's better to take your wife out to relax now. Do you want to go with me to the foot of the mountain? I'll hunt a quail for you to feast on. Lin Qingxue was a little tempted. It wasn't that she was craving quail. It was just that recently you wouldn't let her go to the fields to earn work points. You told her to recuperate at home. Just take good care of the baby. She went back to work in the fields the day after giving birth. At that time you didn't feel sorry for her. Now you're feeling sorry for her. I don't know what benefits you gave Wang Shenju. With both laborers at home not working in the fields, Wang Shenju didn't come to urge them. Seeing that his wife was clearly interested but still hesitant, her gaze kept shifting to the people in the courtyard. You knew your wife was worried that if they left, the things at home wouldn't be safe. You chuckled. Wait a moment. Saying that you carried the child out of the kitchen. I don't know what you said to them, but everyone in the main hall came out. You even chased Li Tianshan out. Li Tianshan actually wanted to go with the family of 3 to the foot of the mountain. She heard there were tigers on the mountain, and none of these educated youths dared to go near. But seeing that they didn't welcome her, she could only wander around the village. You noticed your wife glancing at you from time to time. wanting to say something but hesitating. You stopped and looked at her with a face full of anticipation. Lin Qingshui mustered up her courage and said, "Can I go back to my parents' home for a visit?" After being married for so long, her husband finally seemed like a proper man. He knew how to earn money to support the family and take care of his wife and daughter. Lin Qingshui wanted to visit her parents to put Anan's mother's mind at ease, so she wouldn't have to worry about her marrying badly anymore. You thought your wife had done so much psychological preparation. What's the big deal to talk about? And that's it. You hold your daughter with one hand and hold your wife with the other. Tomorrow I'll go back to your parents' house with you. You wait for me at home. Come to think of it, you haven't gotten much money from your mother-in-law. Tomorrow I'll go to the city to sell the dendrobium and Polygonum multiflorum I have, as well as some venison. It should be enough to pay back the money. And I'll buy some gifts for my mother-in-law. Lin Qingshui never expected him to say that. It was a pleasant surprise. She couldn't help but nod and smile. Not long after, you brought her to a lake where wild ducks were swimming. You stopped. "We're here. This lake drowned more than a dozen naughty children years ago. The villagers said there were water monsters in it. It was very strange, so most people avoided it and didn't dare to get close easily. You didn't believe in such superstitions. You took off your shirt and put it on the grass, telling your wife to hold the child and sit on it. You also sprinkled realgar powder and mugwort powder to repel insects." Lin Qingshui pushed aside the weeds in front of her and looked at the lake reflecting the blue sky, white clouds and surrounding trees. Her eyes lit up. The sound of wild ducks quacking came from the grass. Lin Qingshui couldn't help but ask excitedly, "Did you hunt the wild ducks here last time?" You nodded in response. "Then there should be wild duck eggs. This is the season when they lay eggs." She pushed aside the grass, which was taller than a person, and walked towards where the wild ducks were quacking. Before she got close, the wild ducks in the grass sensed the movement and flew away flapping their wings. Lin Qingshui touched her nose sheepishly. "The wild ducks are gone. You brought her out to relax, so you said indifferently, 'I'll go look for them.' You sent her back and went into the grass to search carefully. Indeed, you found many nests built by wild ducks with dry grass and down. Inside were gray-green wild duck eggs. There were quite a few. You picked up a few and returned to show her. She had gone out empty-handed, and now Lin Qingshui was worried about the duck eggs. How can we take them back? Even with 4 hands we can't carry more than a dozen. There are still so many we can't take." For her, who was used to being frugal, it was too much of a waste. Lin Qingshui scanned the area around the lake. Seeing many willow trees growing, she quickly handed her daughter to you. "Can you hold my daughter for me?" She took out a small knife to cut willow branches. After you understood her intention, you put your daughter on a tree branch, and also took out a knife to help cut. "I can cut them myself. Your hands are not used to it and you might get hurt. Hold the child and wait." You worked very quickly. In a short while you had a pile of willow branches. Finding a flat spot and removing the green leaves, Lin Qingshui began to weave them flat. You could only stand by and watch, unable to help at all. In a short while Lin Qingshui wove the bottom of a basket. Suddenly, as if she remembered something, she looked up at the sky and asked if you were hungry. You shake your head indicating you're not hungry. Lin Qingshui touches her stomach. "Sorry, but I am a little hungry." You quickly say, "I'll go hunting and roast a bird for you to eat." Lin Qingshui takes out 2 steamed buns from her cloth bag. "I brought buns. They'll be ready to eat when heated. You should eat some too." You glance at the cloth bag. You nod slowly. Lin Qingshui smiles, her eyes crinkling. She gathers dry grass by the lake and starts a small campfire. She places the buns on the fire to heat them. After asking you to watch the fire, she goes to the side to weave a basket. She's never idle. She's very fast. As soon as the aroma of the roasted buns wafts out, the basket is finished. She comes up to you to show off. "Look, isn't it pretty? It's so beautiful. My wife's hands are so skillful." You look up. You take the roasted buns off the fire and hand them to her. "Eat up." Lin Qingshui puts down the basket. She washes her hands with lake water. The two of them sit on a dead tree by the lake. With the mountain breeze and autumn sun, they eat the roasted buns bite by bite. After you finish eating, you get up. You pick up the basket and go into the grass alone to collect wild duck eggs. This mountain forest is rarely visited by humans all year round. There are fewer natural enemies for the wild ducks, so they reproduce well. In the time it took Lin Qingshui to eat, you've already collected a basketful. It looks like you can collect 2 more baskets. Lin Qingshui got a basket